When I'm good, I'm very good. But when I'm bad, I'm better.
Welcome, welcome. Welcome, everybody. People are filing in. Awesome. And
Yeah.
pre-stream legend Stormbringer, he had to go to bed, but he gifted 10 memberships before he left. So thank you so much. It's amazing bringing the storm. Tonight, I have a very special guest. We moved the show from Monday to Thursday to accommodate this gentleman because he is so busy. It's Epic Mike.
Hi.
Hey.
I'm glad to be here. I appreciate you being sensitive to my schedule because
Oh,
I'm so
of course.
busy and I never know when I have time to do anything. So I was like, okay, and you're like, I can move the show. I was like, oh thank God. Yeah, I was even so busy right up till like I had to leave, so it was perfect.
You were just on another stream and you
I
did,
was.
were they still going? And you were like, I gotta
Mm,
go. And
I was like, hey, I have a hard out, so they were like, well, we'll end it right here, anyways. We had gone about 2 hours, but yeah.
okay. Well, cool. How often are you streaming these days? Is it an everyday thing, multiple times a day?
I try to stream every day. So let me see here. Of my own things, I try to stream every day on my channel, but then I have a thing on Mondays, typically with Geeks and Gamers. Tuesday we do Tuesday night's main event. Thursdays I'm on an Epic Verse stream, and then Saturdays I'm on a Geeks and Gamers tabletop D&D stream. And that's just the ones that I'm on like regularly scheduled, and then I try to do a stream like almost every night if I can. So yeah.
Wow. I
Yeah.
first found you through the Geeks and Gamers tabletop Secrets of the Frost Maiden.
Oh
That's when I
really?
first
That was a
just that's when I
long
first met you.
campaign. Really? Well,
It
that's
was.
awesome.
How long did it end up going?
We it was over a year that we did it. I think we got to, oh my gosh. I think we got into the 70s on episodes. And that's just
Wow.
about every week with a little bit of time in between.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was a long campaign. That's it's not the longest campaign I've been in, but it's the longest like consistent stream that I've ever been part of like that. So,
Those would go
uh
hours too. Like
yeah,
what?
3 hours a day or 3 hours a stream. Yeah.
That's
Yep.
crazy.
Yeah, we
Oh,
ended up doing 79 episodes. Yeah, I just
that's
looked it up.
insane.
Yeah.
What was your character's ending? How did you end it for yours? Because you were
So
the large woman, right?
yeah, my character got turned into a giant. She became like 21 feet tall or something like that. She ended up marrying. She found a dryad, and she like planted her inside of like a giant pirate ship. She constructed this like giant pirate ship because she was a pirate, and one of her like story hooks that the chat never saw, but it was in her backstory, was that her heart was always longing for the sea. It was like always the thing that she wanted to go back to,
Oh,
and so she went on this journey and did all this stuff and realized now that we're done and we saved everybody, I kind of want to just go back out to the water. So she started like pirate crew, got in like this giant warship that would accommodate her size, and floated out to sea and just terrorized the high seas for the rest of her life. Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, it was
That's
pretty good.
awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty great. So yeah.
SSG Adam, thank you so much for the 10 memberships. You guys are
Look at
so
that.
generous.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's see. There's lots going on. You're doing lots of stuff, lots of streaming. You're
Always.
staying hydrated. I saw you
Yes.
with that jug on the other stream that you were on earlier. Like,
Yeah, people are
dang,
like, is that
goals.
milk? I'm like, it's not milk, it's just water. People are like, no, that's a milk jug. And I'm like, it's a water jug, but yeah. I wish I can't drink milk like that. That would kill me. So
Doesn't that make people throw up? Like, even drinking a whole bunch of water at a time can make somebody like throw up. But I think milk,
yeah.
especially if you drink too much of it, it just,
So I try not to
have you
tangent too much,
tried
but I
it?
can. Yeah, I did a challenge with a bunch of friends one time. We all bought gallons of milk, and we tried it, and I was the only one that didn't throw up. And it was at a friend's
Really?
house. It was at like a friend's parent house. So I was young. I was like, I think we were 17 or 18 when we did this, and we all drank it. And I didn't finish. I think I got down to like that much, and everybody else got down to like just before or a little bit close to it. And one person, it was not me. I was fine. Like after like a couple hours, it all digested. I was good. I was like, hey, I'm set. And everybody's like, whoa, dude, how did you do that? And then somebody got like super massive, awful diarrhea and like blew up
Oh,
his parents'
okay.
bathroom and like made a huge mess in their bathroom. And we were never allowed to go to their house again. Cause
Explosive.
yeah, because they didn't know who did it, and they didn't, and nobody would own up to it. And so they were like, yeah, we're never letting that happen. Yeah.
Just all of you were banned from the house.
Yeah, because they never figured out who did it. So I was like, it wasn't me because I don't have any problem with like milk. Everybody's like, it probably wasn't Mike because he seemed fine, but it was somebody. So yeah, it was pretty bad.
So
A lot of
everyone
people
gets
threw
punished.
up though. Yeah, it was pretty bad. Oh man.
Gosh, speaking of reasons to throw up, you're watching Rings of Power, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a
How's
bad
that
show.
going?
It's bad.
Is it,
I know
is
they
it worse
released the
than the
first,
first season?
like, yes and no. Uh I don't know how to say it. So I've only watched the first episode. I haven't watched the other two yet. I have to, but I haven't done yet. I will say this. I expected most television shows, I'll try not to spend too long on this. Most television shows,
Oh, have that.
in their second season, they go into what's called a sophomore slump. It's very common. And it's
Okay.
because in the second season, you've gotten through the kinks of figuring out how to make a show work. And then the second season is typically you trying to figure out how to keep the pacing going, keep the momentum going. Other shows, some of the best shows on television have a great second seasons. That's typically how you know a show's going to do really, really well for itself, is that the second season is better than the first season. It means that the writers learned what worked about the first season and then capitalize on what they learned. It feels like Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power learned nothing from the first season and just continued on with the same slop that they had going on. And because of that, it makes everything feel worse because you already know what to expect from it and they don't defy those expectations. Like, I was hoping for them to surprise people with how much they doubled down on the bad, or if they tried to like surprise people by injecting a lot of energy and craziness into it. None of that. It's a very, very slow opening. It's kind of boring. At one point, I thought I was watching season 1. I had to stop and go, is this season 2? And I had to look to make sure. And I was like, no, that must be a glitch. So I backed out of the episode, looked at the list, and I saw episode 2 or episode 1, season 2. And I clicked back on. I was like, oh, okay, I guess this is episode. I guess it's season 2. It's just really bad. Yeah, it's kind of pathetic. And it's sad. It makes me very
Well, I
sad.
mean, like it would have been a pleasant surprise, right, if they heard some of the criticism and tried to make some changes or something. But
Yeah.
if they're already of the mindset, no, our product is great as is, there's nothing to fix, press on, and like, is that kind of what they did?
So it's one of two things. Yes, it's either that they doubled down and just said we're fine, or they had started shooting season 2 a lot earlier than they told everybody they did, and so they didn't get a chance to correct any of the criticisms. My guess is that it's the latter. My guess is they probably shot. What I think happened, they probably shot the first 3 episodes before the writer's strike happened. And then they had to stop production because of the writer's strike, then resumed production after the writer's strike. And I would not be surprised if we see a different format and a different style in the latter half of season 2. I guess we'll see, but I think there might be I think they might try to course correct a little bit more after the writer's strike, because I think that screwed up a lot of production. So
Okay,
we'll see.
So they released 3 episodes, and when did the next episodes come out? Are they going to go 4, then 5? Or are they going to?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep, 4, 5, 6. I think they do 8 episodes. Yeah, I think there's 8 episodes in season 2.
Have they even been talking yet about a potential season 3, or is that just
my
TBD?
guess is that they're gonna do a season 3. I think, if I remember correctly, they have the money and the budget to do 5 seasons.
5 seasons. Oh, that does ring a bell.
Yeah.
It feels like it was ages ago.
Yeah, I think what they did was they got the money together to drop a 5-season run. My guess is if the ratings are really bad, if it's not bringing in money and it's hurting Amazon's bottom line, they'll do at least a season 3 of it, because they have to try to capitalize on that investment, and then the show will probably roll over into nothing. If they can correct things and get better, then I could also see them maybe eke out to 5 seasons. But my guess is they'll probably do a season 3 and cancel the show. Yeah.
Okay, you heard it here, folks. Epic Mike's predictions on
yeah.
Rings
I'm
of
not
Power.
always right, but I mean, I try to guess it based on some things. It just depends, because like Star Trek Discovery, I think, got 5 seasons, and people were not watching that show. It's a bad show. People didn't like it. So.
Refused.
Yeah,
I refuse. I barely watched Picard, and I skipped season 2 because season 1 had me so
Smart.
irritated. And I heard, don't watch season 2; it's not worth it. And then 3 came out. I'm like, okay, it's fine. There's a
Yeah.
bunch of member berries and throwbacks and stuff, and
Yeah.
cameos and.
I'm
But
in the
still,
yeah.
mm,
I'm in the wheelhouse. I like season 3, but I only watched season 3 as a continuation of the Next Generation because
mhm.
I watched season 1 of Picard, said it was awful. I completely skipped season 2 as well, and then people were like, "Yo, season 3 is actually not that bad." And I watched it, and I was like, "Oh, it's not great, but it's getting better."
It's not
I
that
really
bad.
no, the last few episodes I really liked because it felt like the Next Generation cast kind of doing their like goodbye season, and that was
Sure.
fine. It's like an old band getting back together and doing like a farewell tour. It's
The
not as good as it
reunion.
used to be, but like you're like, yeah, it was cool, man. Like they they kind of went out swinging, but yeah, it was. I feel you on not liking it. Yeah, Picard's bad, but yeah, if a lot of people don't realize, Discovery doesn't have good ratings. They continued it out of spite. They actually said like, oh well, you guys think we're just going to cancel this show and you guys just want to talk about it, and they were like, no, we're going to continue doing it. Um, and it's kind of surprising. Like I've never seen a show continue out of like spite for their audience. So
Yeah, just to stick it to you, just in your face.
yeah, they're like, how do you don't like our fucking show? Well, here's more of it, buddy. And you're like,
Right?
okay, I'm not gonna watch it. And they're like, we don't care. You're like, okay,
It's like arguing with a preteen.
yeah, oh, 100%. Yeah, yeah. No,
Oh man.
it's 100% like that. Yeah.
See, you have Epic Verse Studios. Did you want to touch on that at all? What's going on with that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot of updates. That's why I always feel bad because people are like, "What's happening with it?" We are, uh, for people that don't know, Epicverse Studio is a studio that I co-founded with Josiah Rises, and me, my buddy Josiah Rises, and then our buddy Chaz, his name is Rough Knight, are all like co-owners of the company. We all kind of run things together as and like run operations. I'm the creative guy. Josiah is also creative, and Chaz is like he's like our technical director. We all have different names, but we all kind of do similar things. But Chaz has a lot more experience in the industry, and so he has a lot of like insight into how things work within the industry and how we can kind of innovate on that stuff. So yeah, that's a company that we worked on. We want to make independent films, and right now we're working on a slate of independent films before we officially launch the company that
Mhm.
we wrote and are directing and paying for like out of pocket. So that way when we launch, we can kind of offer like a litmus test. Hey, here you go. Here's what we did with our own money, without anybody's investment, without anybody else's like giving us money to do this kind of stuff, as far as the audience is concerned, so that you guys know that you're investing in something worthwhile, you know? Because I think that that's important. And I think too many people will go, hey, I got a cool idea for a movie or something, and so then they raise like $100,000 for a movie, and then they do it, and it's not very good, and people are like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, and stuff. Versus like, hey, I invested time and effort to get good at my craft, so you can see the quality of my work, and it not be no, there's no Hollywood strings attached to it. So yeah, that's
Okay.
kind of the
That's
Epicverse
awesome.
in a gist. So if you go to epicverse.tv, you can see we have like the slate of things on there. Some of those projects are either in transition. Some of those projects are going to be happening later. We have like a different, like a whole schedule working out for it. So yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
And I haven't talked to you since like X-Men 97 came out, and there's
Oh
The
yeah.
Crow. The preview for The Crow had me irritated,
Yeah,
and
it did
stuff I've
not look
heard
good.
about it since then.
Mhm.
Irritating. And so I've heard that Skarsgård even like wants to disassociate himself from it. Is that
Really?
right?
I
I've
hadn't
I've
seen if
heard that.
that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, because I know he wants to be taken as like as a serious actor.
Mhm.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would have to look it up though. I
What's
know the
what's with
creator of the original Crow talked crap about it.
Oh,
Uh,
I bet.
yeah, he called it a shameless cash grab because I guess there wasn't that much cash to grab, and I was like, oh no. So
Yikes.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't understand why in modern films and shows and all that, they're really big on face tattoos. Like,
yeah.
that's just like, what is that?
I think they think it's hard and
I
edgy. Yeah, I
No,
don't
it's
know.
not. But
Apparently,
and
yeah,
the
he did
makeup isn't
criticize it.
even on point. Yeah.
No, it isn't. It was weird. When I saw his design, I was like, this just looks like any like emo kids like 2000s emo kid dream. They're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
look at me, look how edgy I am, mom. Like that's what it felt like it was. And I guess it probably wasn't too far off from that if people are hating it right now. It feels like because I don't know who's sitting around going, yo, we really need to do this. Is the perfect time to release a remake of The Crow. But my guess is they were trying to capitalize on like 90s nostalgia, maybe like late
Yeah.
2000s or early 2000s nostalgia. I just don't think The Crow is the way to go with it. And I like Bill Skarsgård. I think he's a great actor.
Same.
But also, he's not the guy. He's not the one. Like if you had cast Jason Momoa, you know, or somebody like a little bit more like that kind of rocker edge to them, I think people would have been more interested. So
Yeah, I first saw him in Hemlock Grove. Did you ever see that show?
I have not seen that show. I've heard of it.
It's got the vampires and werewolf thing going on. And
Okay.
lots of like young adult, I would say maybe even teenage actors in it, but it's actually decent. I really enjoyed it.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's when I first saw him. And then I started seeing, and then he was in It. I'm like, hey, it's that one kid. So like, I've kind of been following him for a while, and I do like him. The whole family is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Have you, oh gosh, that reminds me. Have you seen that interview with Macaulay Culkin, or that interviewer talking to Macaulay Culkin, asking who would win, the Skarsgård brothers, the Culkin brothers, because there's 5 and 5?
I have not.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Talk amongst
you
yourselves.
find
I
it?
have to find this. I have
Yeah,
to.
that's what a wild question, because like they're all tiny, skinny dudes in the Culkin clan. Like they're not big, and they don't look like scrappers or fighters at all. Like that's kind of wild. Like, huh?
It's so funny. Oh, it
Yeah.
wasn't Macaulay. It was Kieran Culkin. Hold on.
But still, you're asking the Culkin brothers, like because they're all really tiny dudes, and all the Skarsgård guys look like they ate like their Wheaties like growing up.
Right?
They're huge dudes. Like after watching the Northman and seeing like how big Alexander got, and like he was like shredded. No. Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah. I didn't know there were 5 Skarsgård brothers. I knew there were 3. I didn't know there were a whole 5 of them. That's scary.
Let's see if it'll work.
Oh, there we go.
No.
Did it
Page
freeze up?
unresponsive. Yeah, whole place.
YouTube is trying to not let you see the truth. They're trying to back, you know, the McCulkin clan. Yeah.
Trying to wipe this from history.
Yeah, they're like, no, we don't want anybody to see this. There's no way that that's a close battle. And I know Kieran seems pretty self-aware. I'd imagine he would immediately be like, yo, that's not a question. Like we would get destroyed. Yeah.
Oh, it's working now. Hallelujah. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
All right, I'm gonna make sure my audio is doing the audio things it should be doing.
Yeah. No,
you never know.
Listen, I'm a boomer. It's not one of my streams unless I forget to unmute myself or forget to show the screen. One time I played like a video game. I was playing a game and I forgot to share my screen. So I was just playing it and I get a call on my phone from my friend who's watching it, and she's like, yo, you don't have the screen showing. And I was like, whoops, like my bad. So
you're talking about a next thing you want to share and it's still on the previous one and you go the whole topic on the wrong one because you're not paying attention what the chat's trying to help you with.
Yep. And they're like, yo, stop. Yeah. Is it working now? Or did it not work again?
It froze up again. I don't know if it's Chrome or if it's YouTube. I've had some issues. They're haters.
Yeah, I've heard people have been having trouble with like Chrome and stuff like that. I can look it up if you want me to. Hold on.
Here, I'll put the link in the chat and then you can share. Right. Well, now it's deciding to, you know what? I'm going to drop the link just because I've done this like 3 times and it freaks out. So,
all right. Is it Entertainment Tonight's official one?
Yeah.
Okay. I got it right here.
The 3 minute or so.
3 minute, 31 second or whatever. Yeah. I got it right here.
Wait.
I got you. Listen, I got you, fam. Like we're rocking together.
Professional YouTuber.
Yeah. Well, professional is a word. I don't know if I would use it for me, but yeah. All right, I got it right here. So you want me to play the whole thing, or let me know when to stop?
You know I gotta.
I don't remember exactly when. Yeah, we'll just play on.
Gotcha.
You know I gotta start here. The ear hair.
I'm a little bit thrown, actually. I had some stuff I prepared to say, but I have this hair that grows on the side of my ear, This like it's not like a ear hair. It's like on
I
the
don't
side
remember
here.
this
It gets
part.
really long, and then my wife surprises me by plucking it. And then Sarah Snook discovered it on set, and she started doing it too.
It's gone because they plucked them. I have a picture of it. I'm going to try to pull it out right now. You just talk amongst yourselves while I find this.
We will just talk amongst ourselves.
That's
It's a beautiful
wild.
night here at the Emmys. We've been waiting for I don't know how many months.
This lady's
for
probably
this.
been waiting her
I
whole life
love
for this
this.
interview. And here she is,
Probably.
like, not getting to talk at all about anything
Well worth it.
interesting.
I'm gonna let you look. It's good.
Look at
song.
her.
Let me see.
That's
That's
a little box of
Let's
chocolates that
skip
was on the
ahead a
table,
little bit because
and
I don't want
then I picked up-
YouTube to.
And they were literally, it was like
get
right
mad at
before the
me.
category. So you didn't anything, and just got
I think
plucked.
it's that part. Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
Okay, have you seen the viral meme
Okay.
going around that's pitting
There
the
it is.
Culkin brothers versus the Skarsgård brothers and who would win in a brawl?
They're huge. They're huge. We would lose.
They're huge.
That's just like not even a.
You're like nimble and quick. You could like.
Okay, size matters. I don't care what anyone says. Size matters. You give us a couple of blades and you tie an arm behind their back or something like that, break an ankle on each Skarsgård, maybe we have a shot.
So Skarsgård's one, Culkin's.
Yeah,
But you listen. But you got the trophy.
Duh.
I'm sure they got theirs, don't they?
It's funny because he almost looks mad about it a little bit. Like, if you want me to keep going, I
Little
can.
bit.
But like, yeah, he seems
Gotta have
offended.
theirs. Dad does anyway. Yeah.
No,
But
that's
I feel
really
like
it. It's just like, have you
legit
seen
are
them? They're
having
huge.
A really
Yeah.
good time on this award circuit. It's okay. It's a pleasure to see because you're always laughing and having a good time and just like living your best damn life.
He does
If
not look like
it's
he's having a
nightmare
good time.
because it used to be when I
He
did this.
does
'Cause I've
not.
been doing this a long time.
No.
and
He
I
looks
think
really
when I was
put out.
20, it was
Yeah.
a terror and a nightmare, and I had to adjust to it being fun and the fact that
Let me know when you
I
want
mean
me
with
to
the show
stop.
that I actually
I'll keep
love,
it going.
We can stop.
working with people that I
Okay. Yeah, that's a wild question. Like,
Isn't it?
he almost looks like yeah, he looked offended. He's
A
like,
little
"What?"
offended.
He's like, they're huge. What are you talking about? And she's like, yeah, but like, you're quick and nimble. And he's like, what? Like,
Yeah, like the audacity.
yeah, he's like, I don't understand that question. Like, no, like, I like how he even like made it a thing. Like, if they were armed or tied behind their back, we had some blades, some maybe. Like, yeah, that's
Break an
kind of a
ankle.
wild question. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Oh
Wow.
man. So you ready to jump into some of the news topics? Because we've got some doozy.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna run the bumper. If I can find the bumper. You know, there they
I
are.
believe in you.
Good thing
I
one of
believe
us
in you.
does.
Yeah. So you give him like cool transitions like that. I don't have any of that. I just go, all right, guys, I
recent.
think I found, and I like type it out in front of everybody. And I'm like, oh, okay, let me press the button. And then half the time I don't press the right button. Like, no, this is already far more professional than mine. So
Well, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
I'm still faking it. So.
you're doing a good job of it. So yeah.
Oh, thank you. So, you know, the Telegram CEO was just arrested
Yeah.
in France. The French, they're always letting the world down.
Freaking French, right?
There's a reason why we renamed it to Freedom Fries. But did you hear the circumstances as to how he was arrested? And
I did
all of
not
that?
actually. I knew that they arrested him. I knew it was some kind of weird reason, but I didn't really dig a lot into the story. Because I had heard it like secondhand or something, and I was like, oh, interesting, okay. And then I didn't really do much looking into it.
So the president of France, Macron.
Yep.
He invited him to dinner. He lured him to his country with promises of dinner, and they arrested him. What kind of bullshittery is that?
That is wild. I did not know that at all. Like that's the shysteriest thing ever. That's crazy.
And they're bragging about it. They are thrilled. They're like, yeah, we got him. First of all, he was never accused of any crime.
Yeah.
His charges are that he was complicit in the fact that there are other people that use this platform that are committing crimes. Because he's a free speech absolutist, and he will not turn over information to the FBI, the government, the alphabet agencies, other countries' governments. They want user data. And to be fair, you know, predator poachers, Alex Rosen.
Yep.
He talks to predators all the time, and they're like, oh yeah, we have this group on Telegram and we swap pictures and there's all kinds of stuff. And so on that point, yeah, I mean, there's a limit, right? If it's that kind of stuff, I'm sorry, toast them, toss them
Mhm.
into the wood chipper.
Yeah.
But just generally, like, they were looking for information on conservative alt-right, quote unquote, people, the Proud Boys,
That makes
Charlie,
sense.
everybody. So because he didn't want to give them backdoor access, the FBI, or one of the three-letter agencies, he talks about it in an interview with Tucker Carlson in this clip. But they tried to hire one of his engineers so that they
Okay.
could get backdoor access
Wow.
that would give them user access, everything. So what may not be a crime in our country is a crime in, say, France or other countries, right? Speech is
Yeah.
violence. And so it just would open the door for so much abuse
Yeah.
of just the general populace for having opinions, like what they're doing in the EU and Britain right now.
Yeah.
They're scooting out, violent offenders, actual physical violence, to make room for online violence. It's kind of scary what's happening right now. And
Yeah.
so in this clip, Alex Jones is making a plea to Elon Musk saying, do not go to the UK. Don't travel to these places because they're going to do the same thing to you. Right.
Wow.
So, yeah, this is wild stuff.
This is a canary in the coal mine. Pavel Durov, the founder of Telegram, which is globally many times bigger than X, was lured into France a few days ago, as most of you know, by Macron. The police told him this. It's now confirmed, to have dinner with him. The guy's never been accused of being a criminal, never really had any issues. But he will not let the United States government and the EU into his operation and to surveil people without a warrant. He is the only other big tech titan in the West, other than Elon Musk, to say no and to not give in to just giant blanket censorship. If stuff's illegal, he'll block it, just like Elon Musk will.
We get too much attention from the FBI, the security agencies, wherever we came to the US. So to give you an example, last time I was in the US, I brought an engineer that is working for Telegram, and there was an attempt to secretly hire my engineer behind my back by cybersecurity officers or agents, whatever they are called.
The U.S. government should hire your engineer?
That's my understanding. That's what he told me.
To write code for them or to break into Telegram?
They were curious to learn which open source libraries are integrated to the Telegram's app, on the client side, and they were trying to persuade him to use certain open source tools that he would then integrate into the Telegram's code that, in my understanding, would serve as backdoors.
Would allow the U.S. government to spy on people who use Telegram.
The U.S. government, or maybe any other government, because a backdoor is a backdoor, regardless of who is using it.
And the government does such a bang up job of keeping our private information safe, right? So even if they weren't using it for nefarious purposes, right? Totally legit, doubt. But even if they were, if they can't preserve social security numbers, they can't keep our information private from people that would outright go for the citizens, right? Then what the hell? This is just crazy to me.
Yeah,
but
this is wild. Well, and like, just as a side thing, like, like Alex said, I have Telegram. The only reason I even have Telegram, I never used it before. I knew about it, but I never looked it up or had it, was because I had a friend who was traveling internationally, and they do a lot of international travel. And they said, hey, if you want to get a hold of me, because I'm traveling, I don't always have my phone, like access to my phone, like data services. So texting me might not go through or something. He goes, but if you message me on Telegram, I'll always get it, because when you go abroad, everybody uses Telegram. It's just very common to use. And so I was like, okay, well, I don't know anything about Telegram, but learning about like the encryptions in Telegram and the privacy that exists within that service, it's really interesting. And so like doing research into it, there have been some really interesting cases and things that have happened on Telegram from people like leaking stuff, like you said, like traffickers using it and stuff like that. And that's always going to be the excuse, is whatever the worst person using the thing is using it for will be the excuse to gain access to it.
The Patriot Act,
yeah,
right?
Yep. 100%. It's the same thing. This bad person does bad thing on this, so we need access to it, or we need to regulate it so that bad people can't do bad things. But then we'll willfully ignore things that are happening that could be stopped by intervention, even government intervention. I don't like that term, but there are things that the government can step in and help and involve itself in that could protect American citizens that are a lot worse than Telegram, you know?
Sure.
Yeah, and I think that's the... It feels like right now there is a massive push to remove free speech. And I absolutely believe, you know, I try not to get super political. I keep trying to keep my politics typically to myself and stuff. But I will say, like, as far as the writing on the wall, it feels like, if you look at 2020, you know, you look at, you know, how much was being said about the current, you know, at the time, the president, you know, Donald Trump, and how much people were going, like, making up stories about him and saying everything they could about him and trying to push propaganda against him and trying to downplay anything that happened with Hunter Biden, trying to downplay anything that happened with Biden himself. There was a lot of things that he got called out for. A lot of people, like, I wouldn't say a lot of people don't remember this, but people that don't remember, Biden, when he was running against Trump, was like horrible. His numbers were terrible. Originally, so what happened was he was like one of the lowest candidates already. And then he debated Kamala Harris, and she called him a racist and called out a bunch of his racist policies, called out a bunch of the crazy, like, racist nut stuff that he did, like segregation and all this crazy stuff that he did. And his numbers tanked into the toilet and went through the floor. And everybody was like, oh, wow, well, Joe Biden's probably going to drop out. And then Tulsi Gabbard and Kamala went toe to toe, and Kamala called her out, or Tulsi called her out for all of the hypocritical stuff she did while she was a prosecutor and all the horrible stuff that she did as a prosecutor. And sure enough, what so happens? Kamala Harris's numbers go into the toilet too. And then they go, you know what? Well, Andrew Yang, we don't want him because he's talking about universal basic income and talking about working across aisles and things like that, you know, and there's all these different people that at the time kind of had like a more centrist to left view on things. And they're like, no, never mind. Like, we're not going to do that. Biden's the guy. He's our dude, you know?
He's the winner.
Yeah. And so
totally legit.
All that happens. And the problem is, oh, geez.
Black is night for 10. Thank you. Mike, tell Wicked about Anaconda malt liquor. Do it now.
Wow. Well, you're not Wicked, but do you know what Anaconda malt liquor is? Have you ever seen the movie Black Dynamite?
No.
Okay. There's a movie called Black Dynamite, and it's like it's a play on blaxploitation films. It's a whole joke. And throughout the movie, there's these ads for this fake malt liquor because Black people supposedly love malt liquor or whatever. And the movie, like the big twist in the movie at the end of the movie, it's a really dumb twist. They find out that Anaconda malt liquor was created by the government, specifically Richard Nixon in the 70s, to make Black guys have smaller dicks because he was jealous of their dick size because his wife was attracted to Black dudes and he didn't like it. Now, this is not a real thing that happened. This is not based on any real evidence. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of weird...
It's a documentary. It's a total documentary. All things are true.
Yeah, but like it's like a really funny twist in the movie at one point, and then like Black Dynamite goes to the White House and like kung fu fights Richard Nixon in the White House. It's a pretty silly thing, but yeah, that's what Anaconda.
I remember that in my social studies books.
Yeah, you probably should. It's probably important. I mean, weirder things have happened, right? Like Frosted Flakes, or not? Corn Flakes were invented to stop young boys from masturbating.
Wait, is that a real thing?
That is a real thing. I don't know. You didn't know that? Yeah.
I didn't know that. Tell more.
The guy that invented Corn Flakes, I think it was Richard Kellogg. He invented Corn Flakes because he wanted to provide young men with food to keep. Here, let me pull it up. This is not a joke.
It sounds wild.
It sounds made up. It sounds like a Family Guy joke.
Yeah. Remember that one time when Stephen Kellogg made cornflakes so boys would stop masturbating.
This is a real... It's wild, dude. Here it is. And John Harvey Kellogg, not Richard. John Harvey Kellogg, he was a physician and a devout Seventh-day Adventist. He was from Michigan. Yikes. And basically what he said was that Seventh-day Adventists believe that people should eat vegetarian. They should abstain from alcohol, tobacco, and caffeine. That's a real thing too. Like some Seventh-day Adventists, if they drink like caffeine, they feel like they've sinned. But he also felt like things like meat and certain foods were causing young men to have too much testosterone in their bodies, which was making their sex drives too strong. And so he created cornflakes as a way for young men to eat foods that wouldn't drive them to like want to have more sex, then lead them to chronically masturbate.
So he would have totally been on board with this whole like inject soy and everything, right?
Yes.
Gross.
Yeah. He said he thought that meat and certain flavorful or seasoned foods increase sexual desire, that planter foods, especially cereals and nuts, could curb it. An idea proposed in the mid-19th century by Sylvester Graham, a Presbyterian minister, and the guy that invented the graham cracker. Oh God. While Kellogg worked on the superintendent at Battle Creek, he hit on a few different healthy eating ideas, and 2 became breakfast staples. Yep.
That's really weird. Weird facts. The more you know. I need a more you know bumper.
Right? And that was all to stop young men from masturbating, I guess. So that's what cornflakes exist for. Yeah. Yeah, people are weird. The extreme on any side, on any matter, is always pretty weird. Because it's nuts. I tangent. I should have warned you ahead of time that I can tangent. We can rabbit trail into some deep stuff.
Fine.
But, so I'll bring it back to 2020 happens, and then Trump loses the election, and there's all this hullabaloo about whether or not it was stolen and all of that stuff. And I don't want to get into that obviously on YouTube, but we watch people's channels be taken down on YouTube. We watched them go after Rumble for allowing and platforming anybody that said that this was happening. All this stuff. And then we all get locked in our homes in March and April. And anybody that has a dissenting opinion on whether or not that was viable or a good idea. Don't get Mike started down. Yeah, we'll be here all day if I do that. But anybody that said any of that was accused of misinformation. If you look at what happened on Twitter, people were getting their Twitter accounts removed, all of this stuff. And then we found out after all of that happens, and now we know Trump's getting ready to run for president again. Elon buys Twitter, and then he exposes what was going on Twitter. And they were talking to government entities who were telling them, hey, this is the narrative we need to push right now. Hey, we need you to call this stuff misinformation. And now you're looking at it. And the thing is, like over in the UK, which surprise, the UK is not the place that you should be getting the best information. But over there in the UK, they were like, hey, a lot of what you guys are saying is inaccurate. A lot of what you guys are saying doesn't work, isn't making any sense. And like the stuff that other people are saying does make sense. And all the stuff you keep calling misinformation isn't. And I'm trying to be vague here because I don't want YouTube to get mad about it. But it's like,
I appreciate it.
We were in that kind of a situation. And so now, as we ramp up towards this next election, it feels like people like France and Canada and a lot of these UK places where, they stand to lose the most from having a president that's far more conservative and far more free speech and for things like that, all of a sudden start attacking these free speech outlets and saying, hey, this is not good. We need to get rid of this. We need to remove this. We need to control these narratives. They're going to try to figure out how to go after Elon Musk, because if they can stop him from allowing free speech to run rampant on Twitter, then they can't lie about things. They can't control the narrative on things. So it's all a plan to like work that in. And this is like them testing the waters, because if they can take down somebody like the CEO of Telegram and that plan works, then they have a blueprint for how do you go after somebody like Elon.
Okay, so tinfoil hat first, like just putting that on for a moment. It would make sense, like you said, as far as like all the powers that be and their interests or whatever, right? Maybe they're all in a concerted effort making these steps, right? Because France apparently doesn't. I mean, they don't like free speech in these other countries. Even our own country, the politicians don't like free speech. So if we can't get him, someone else can. One of our allies can.
Yes.
And it seems kind of maybe that's kind of what had happened here. But what's crazy to me, as far as like mainstream media, USA Today is very left leaning, and it's one of those pushed on the main like Yahoo page, just the headline, so that when people read it, they think that's all the article is, and that's fact and truth. They don't even bother reading the article. But when you read this article, it's actually horrifying because he's championing these efforts, and the left will continue to champion these efforts because all they have to do is, like they did in this article. I don't know how many times far right or right wing extremists was used in this article. It was plentiful.
Yeah.
But yeah, America's far right flocked to the app as traditional social media sites ramped up their content moderation in the wake of Donald Trump's 2020 election loss. And its hands-off approach to content moderation has made it a refuge for extremists and conspiracy theorists of all kinds. I'm sorry, conspiracy theorists, that's not a crime. Being a conspiracy theorist is not a crime.
No, nope.
But they weaponize this type of language, right? So Pavel's arrest and charges in a wide range of crimes related to Telegram's alleged complicity in allowing users to trade in CP, drugs, and money laundering left those same users speculating about a possible upheaval. But even the headline, or up here, the CEO of the secure messaging app is accused of failing to prevent criminal use of the platform. Is that his? I mean, how do you charge somebody with failing to prevent crime?
Well, it's something. So it's funny. There's been like a soft usage and a test of this on like YouTube and certain apps where if you're not regulating your comments, people are saying things in your comments, you know, things like that. You can have your channel removed, things like that. You know, they're like control your chat. Kelly also thought that flavor was causing extreme feelings. I mean, that's why cornflakes are bland. Yes. Yep. It's pretty wild. Yeah.
That's gross.
Yeah, it's nuts. But like, yeah, there's a thing that they're like, hey, you know what? Even if you're not guilty of something, you're fostering people that are utilizing your thing incorrectly. We have to go after you. It's because they want the change and they want access and they have to figure out how to get access. And so if they can make you indirectly responsible for a crime and then arrest you, then their hope is that he'll go, fine, here, I'll give you access so that you can go after these people that are doing wrong, which is good. You don't want like sex traffickers and people with CP on your websites and using your apps and stuff like that. But here's the thing. What did YouTube was rampant with it for a while. A lot of people don't remember this. The reason when you go to YouTube and you type in, if you go watch a kid's like, go watch like a Disney song play and then try to minimize it. You can't minimize it. Okay. And you also can't, there's no comments. Comments aren't available on kids' videos because there's a bunch of people and traffickers that were all talking within comments and leaving coded messages in comments on kids' posts. And that's how they were communicating with each other. And YouTube got called out for this. They didn't have the government step in and say, hey, we're going to arrest the CEO of YouTube or the CEO of Google. They said, hey, what are you doing? And so YouTube said, well, we're just going to shut this down so that it can't happen. Here's the thing. Telegram regulates itself. If you are committing crimes on Telegram and they find out, you will get removed from the platform. It happens. They are about free speech and wanting people to communicate. But like, yeah, if you break the law, you break the law. I mean, that's the thing. There was a whole thing that happened with Telegram, I think last year or a couple years ago. This is going to be a wild story too. Okay. This is how weird the world is. Okay. There was a group of people on Telegram that were sharing and buying animals on Telegram and buying like
livestock or pets
no, they're buying I think they're buying monkeys.
Oh, exotic animals.
Yeah, they were buying monkeys so they could so they could make videos of people like killing them. There's a whole documentary of this on, I think it was on the BBC. I found it randomly, and they were like, terrible. There's like, yeah, but there's like a whole group of people on like, not on just Telegram, there's other sites too, where they were like abusing these monkeys and stuff for videos, and people were paying videos for it because there's all kinds of weird people on the internet that do this stuff. Well, guess what? There was a big group of them on Telegram.
Snuff films.
Yes, kind of like animal snuff.
Oh.
Yeah. So like it was a thing that was happening because there's like a third world countries where a lot of these monkeys are. So people were like buying them and doing this stuff, and it became like a thing. There's all kinds of weird stuff like that on the internet. But this was one that got a documentary on the BBC. And basically they were talking about this, but a lot of these groups got removed and some of them got contacted, you know, because they were sharing sharing international currency to buy illegal things and stuff. So it's like, that's an example of where people on Telegram were using the app for something and getting removed from it. It wasn't just on Telegram. That was one of the apps mentioned. It was
Sure.
a bunch of other websites and stuff too.
But the way that they're phrasing this, they're, framing it that it just was running rampant and criminals and all this stuff, just conducting criminal business. And he was complicit in the criminal activity, which, that's a stretch and a half to be complicit in the criminal business. When they actually do, but for the normies that read the headlines, they're not going to know that they actually did moderate themselves. They did actually turn over criminal activity once it was identified, so it's just this whole psyop thing. And election years, especially when Trump's involved, of course, it gets weird. The last 8 years have been so bizarre as far as tensions and the fuckery that is so blatantly happening with mainstream narratives and the news outlets. It's been crazy. And the people are just getting, I don't know, one side is getting sick and tired of it, and it seems like they're living on the edge, and then the other side just feels totally emboldened to where they're like being aggressive and violent. There's so many videos that I've seen every day of like packs of people just committing violence because nothing's going to happen to them. And
100%.
the other side's reaching a boiling point, and it's like, this is not going to go well. It's got to come to a head at some point. And I'm glad I live in a rural area.
Yeah, me too. Well, I don't live super rural, but I don't.
Not in this city.
I'm not in like a heavy populated city or anything. Thank goodness. I mean, there's a lot of crime in the city that I live nearby, anyways. But I feel like it would change much if everything went to shit. It'd be like, okay, well, it was already a shithole. But like, there's a thing. I say this term a lot. Like, I talk about breaking the pendulum. Because my thing is, I've seen both extremes, unfortunately, and right now the world is looking at one extreme. We're watching like leftist extremism and the extreme like sides of like the leftist narrative of like, what happens when you're so driven by the people's needs that you're willing to destroy people to get for the people, like, for the people. It's like we use like the word communism because like the idea is, well, it's trying to make equity and equality for everybody and give everybody all the same resources and all the same abilities. But you're doing that at the hand by the at the end of a barrel, and the guy holding the gun, when they get all the resources, is not going to give them evenly. He's going to keep most of the resources for himself and then just like give everyone else like a smidgen of whatever resources.
Everyone else is going to be equally poor or destitute or, suppressed.
Yes.
And the elites will remain at the top. And yes, equality can happen under that regime, that style of government. But it's not this butterflies and unicorns and rainbows that these deluded, usually young liberals think it could be.
100%. No, but then on the other side, you have to be cautious of when the pendulum swings the other way, that you don't become well, I mean, and they use this word a lot, like a fascist, whatever. I don't think they understand what they're actually saying, but the other side of it is the extreme side of like the right is to heavily regulate everything, extremely Puritan, extremely government regulated, but in a different way. It's not government regulated like the government controls all resources and hands all things there. It's very militarily driven. It's very it's very, very, very resistant to outsiders and outside influences. It's very resistant to anything that is outside the norm of whatever the current policies and politics of the people in power are. Because that's the thing people don't realize either, is like, you'll say, well, conservative values are, conservative values have changed a lot over the years too. And those have evolved too. And what we have as conservatives would have been considered far more left to center, 30 years ago or 40 years ago or whatever. Like, things have changed, authoritarian is the word. And we don't want that either. There has to be a balance with all things. And the real balance comes in removing government power from everything. And that's the hard part, is resting that, because guess what? It was not the left that passed the Patriot Act. That was a
Nope.
that was a right government that said, listen, we can never allow national security to ever be at risk again, and so it's okay to remove your freedoms if we decide that you could potentially. That's a scary thing. It's a scary thing to think about because you have to think of the extremes of it. You know, when they did like the Boston bomber or whatever that happened at the marathon or whatever, they caught that guy in like a day.
Yeah.
And the story was like, yo, people were like, yo, we were in subways. We all, like a bunch of people in subways got detained in the subway, got their backs illegally searched and seizured. They're like, yo, we can do this. We have the power. And people went, no, you don't. And they go, yeah, actually we do. We signed that in a long time ago, you know? And they caught that guy. So you got to think about like, what would happen if you're the guy on the chopping block? You know, like
Keebler, Dems tend to economically regulate. Republicans tend to socially regulate.
yes, and there needs to be a balance because you have to do both, but you have to do both in a way that says we're just mitigating the extremes of people that will take advantage of you, and specifically people that aren't in this country that would take advantage of you. You know, it's all a thing. And so I say all that to say, the hope I think right now and the push is, especially if they think they're going to lose, is you go, okay, we're going to lose this battle. Let's say that you're on the left and you're in some of these briefings and you're talking to people and you know Trump's going to win the election and you know that that's likely the outcome that's going to happen. Well, then you have to take every policy that you can and you have to run with it as far to the left as you can. You have to run it to the utmost extreme. So you pass insane laws and you pass these insane things or attempt to pass these insane things that you never thought would get released or ever get to see the light of day, and you try to you remove restrictions. California is doing a great example of it. They're removing all these laws and restrictions. You can't get arrested for misdemeanors, so people are robbing
right. They increased the grand theft dollar amount to 900 some, so it's like, oh, I can just steal up to $900, I'm good to go.
Yeah, I'm good to go, and you're not going to prosecute me. Or even if I do, I'll get to walk out, and stuff like that. I just, so you do all of that, and you push those policies to their extreme, so that way, when the balance shifts, the power balance shifts. So if you start in center, and you run it as far to the left as you can, when the power balance shifts to the right has to step this way to get that power back to here. But it never fully ever goes back to center. It stays mostly one-sided. You spend so much time fighting those policies and working to get things back to a center position that you actually end up finding yourself farther left. And so then the response has to be to make really extreme right policies that will force those left policies back to the center. But then what you end up doing is you're always finding yourself in a power imbalance. That's not healthy, and that's not how politics are supposed to work. But we become so extreme about it because when one side's extreme, the other side responds with an extreme, that we're finding ourselves like it's feeling more black and white. And unfortunately, it kind of is, or red and blue, I should say. There's not like a shade of purple anymore, unfortunately, because everybody's like, no, we have to go with the extremes or else we won't have the ability to push things that we want to push, because the other side will just step all over us because neither side is willing to just like put their guns down for a second, So
do you think to some degree, if they think, okay, we have to make a hard correction, is there a potential that they feel like it leaves room for negotiation to get maybe to somewhere closer to, further center than the hard correction? Do they really think the hard corrections are going to work, or could it be that they might leave room for some negotiation to get it, maybe right to center, or
well, this is the tinfoil. This is the tinfoil hat part of me, but it's not really a tinfoil hat.
Sure, it's hypothetical. Let's go.
Yeah, anytime there's a situation where two sides of the government that are diametrically opposed to each other are willing to have negotiations, the only person losing in that fight is us. It means that whatever the negotiation is something that will benefit them, but not benefit the people.
Oh, of course. Ultimately, I'm of the opinion that it's two sides, same coin. It's the same machine. Yep. And they're not out for the people, the taxpayers. They're out for themselves and their own agendas, their own careers, their retirement, their legacy, or just their pocketbooks.
100%. And
I mean,
one of the
and that's why like Trump to me is so entertaining, is because
Mhm.
both sides actually hate him.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
and that's
and
what's
they hate him because he unapologetically is for himself. And I know a lot of people like won't like that statement, but I'm not saying it as an insult. It's just that most politicians will lie to you and tell you that they're on your side, and they're not. And like Trump will be he was like, yo, if I get in the office, I'm going after the Department of Justice. He's not doing it to help us. He's doing it because he's mad at them for trying to prosecute him. He's going to use that power to hurt people, like
Yeah.
to hurt the people that try to hurt him. And most government people in the government, most politicians never admit that in a million years. Because
No,
most of them,
they're the snake oil salesman. I'm just like
Yes.
you. Kamala's
Yep.
running the I'm just like you. I grew up just like you. My mom can afford a home just like you. That
Yep.
whole thing. Trump was never that way. He's like, yeah, I have gold toilets, and you'll
I
never
was
be able
born-
to have
yeah.
anything that
I was
that I
born
threw
into
away.
wealth. I'm super wealthy. Yeah. I'm
Right.
going to give myself tax breaks so that when I'm not president anymore, like I'm not paying out the wazoo for money because I like having money. And we're all like, yeah, I get it, you know? But the thing is
I
too,
like having my money too.
yeah, well, a lot of us do. And we're watching that not happen. But like,
Yeah.
that's the thing, like one of the ideas, and this is something that was really surprising to me because of the way that he pushed this, and it was really interesting. His last speech that Trump gave before the election, his last election in 2020, he actually came to Michigan, and he was actually in the town that I was born in, Grand Rapids or whatever. He talked about this, and he said, you know, like, they're not coming after me, they're coming after you, and I'm standing in the way. He's like, he said, I never wanted to run for president. I didn't want to do politics. It would have been easier for me not to do this. It would have been better for me not to do this. I'm doing it because I'm trying to help you. I saw a need and I sought to fill it. Now, even if you assume that he's completely full of shit and all of that is a lie and that he's playing some other angle, most politicians are not playing that angle. Most politicians do not present themselves as a servant of the people that are taking a loss, doing something that is painful and difficult and frustrating for them to protect you. That's not what most people say. That's not a common thing you hear from politicians. Most politicians go, you know, I want to run because I want to bring change to the people, or I want to unite the United States, and I want to unite all of us together under a banner of love, or a banner of change, or a banner of truth, blah, 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 blah.
Joy.
You know, yeah, joy. You know, we need to come together. You know, America used to be together. We used to love each other. You know, you rarely ever hear a politician go, I don't really want to run for office, and I don't really want to do this job, but if I don't do it, someone will step in that'll do it and hurt you, and I don't want them to hurt you. That is a very genius way to approach, how can I help people? How can I endear people to my cause? And I think that that's the difference. So even if he's self-serving, completely self-serving, and it's all for him, he can still absolutely, whatever his angle is, it's not the same angle that a politician would take on people. You know?
Yeah.
And I think that's the big difference that a lot of people don't point out, because I think that sometimes people get caught up in well, what are they saying about him and how can I debunk that? And I think sometimes it's more important to hear what they say and look at their actions and see how that works, you know? And I thought that was kind of interesting. So yeah, I think watching him do this and then watching what they're doing by attacking all of these free speech platforms and things like that, because they know that people are talking on these platforms, and they know people are sharing things on these platforms, and they know that when push comes to shove, information is going to get out that they don't have access to. The internet is basically like the fire that Prometheus brought to the people. It was never supposed to be it was never supposed to be as free as it is, and it was never supposed to be as accessible as it is to the regular people. And now, because of how hard we've been pushed against with misinformation and with all of these places, which I know we're going to segue into this next part, like they tried so hard to manipulate us that people, when they discovered they're being manipulated, pushed back. And then people like Elon Musk stepped in and said, hey, I don't like it either. And I actually have the money and the power to do something about it. So now I just bought Twitter, and now it's mine. Now it's not. It doesn't even. It's not a corporation like with shareholders and all this. It's my company. I privately own it. It belongs to me. So everything that happens on this platform is completely and utterly by my hand. And it wouldn't be because here's the thing. If what is his name? The guy that owned Twitter before Jack. I don't remember his last name. Dorsey. Yes. If Jack Dorsey bought Twitter, said, "Hey, it's a private company now. I own it." Nobody would bat an eye. They like a lot of those leftists wouldn't bat an eye. I'm like, okay, but Elon Musk buys it, and they go, oh, "He's going to push alt-right extremism everywhere." And you go, "Why would you?"
He's not going to fall in line. We can't necessarily control him. He's got too much
because he's
power.
running on a platform of free speech. So yeah. Anyways,
interesting times. But yeah, I thought this was interesting. This article just came out yesterday. Zuckerberg censorship admission. Finally admitting it.
Yep.
And he's really, really sorry, guys. He's really sorry about it. He feels bad. Zuck said, "I believe the government pressure was wrong, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it." Bruh.
Yeah.
He admitted in a letter that his company, Facebook, did yield pressure from Biden-Harris admin to censor American citizens on a wide array of subjects.
No.
I've never seen this picture before. I didn't know.
I've actually never seen that either. It's hard to know if it's real now. Yeah.
Right? He's not a person.
No, he's definitely
an
an android. Yeah. Yeah. He got rich enough that he could just build a bunch of life model decoys of himself. The real him is that really pale, like video of him where he's like surfing in like Maui or whatever. That's the real him. The real him is like this like super pale like nerd boy on a yacht living out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, that's the fake him is whatever that thing is, shaking hands with the president. Yeah.
Right. So he's very contrite about it, and his regret only came after the company fought for years to conceal the evidence of its work with the government to censor opposing views. And I mean, they mentioned Facebook, but I mean, it's the Meta family, right? So it's Instagram, Messenger, what is it, Threads now?
Yep, Threads. Yep.
I think that's their competition to Twitter and Facebook. It's a lot of people and a lot of people's information, and a lot of people getting their news from those sources. I wasn't on Twitter for up until 2022. So, and especially since Elon took over, so much information. It's like a deluge of breaking news, or this is uncovered, this was exposed, left and right, which I would have never, ever even heard of otherwise. It's crazy. So the amount of people that are on the Meta platforms that aren't even or haven't been able to just get real information, or the community notes aspect is great too, because it's like, okay, do I get mad about this, or do I get excited about it, or do I wait? I usually try to wait. But yeah, it's amazing what kind of impact this had on elections, just general, like, I don't know, social interactions. Like, this is huge.
Yeah. I think it's funny that line there, that his sudden regret only came after his company fought for years to conceal the evidence of its work with the government to censor opposing views.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was finally compelled to release the documents by House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan, from a Republican from Ohio, in the House Judiciary Committee. And it's because they attacked one side. Now, this is the other thing that's important about this, is like typically conservatives are usually pretty behind on technology. They're usually older, and they're usually not as tech savvy. And one of the things that was starting to become more and more apparent was how embarrassingly inadequate our knowledge base was. The politicians that were representing us, our representatives, how woefully out of the loop they were when it came to technology. And it wasn't until recently that they really got into it. Ted Cruz was a big part of that, but even Ted Cruz had some really, really dumb understandings of how the internet worked. We actually had politicians that believed that you could just like unplug the internet and plug it back in again. And like the whole internet, not just like they believe like it was like South Park. There's a
master plug,
somewhere.
like a giant master plug somewhere.
Yeah, you just unplug it and plug it back in again. Like they didn't know how some of this stuff worked, and it's not until recently that they started becoming more savvy about this. And a big part of that is going to be getting younger people into politics, and that's a whole rabbit hole in and of itself. But now they're starting to see this, and this is funny because this is something that was talked about, and I think Elon Musk talked about this before, and Joe Rogan talked about this a lot. That if Twitter and Facebook as well, and a lot of these platforms didn't get in line and didn't stop fighting against information and trying to manipulate people and lie to people, that the government was going to step in at some point and it was going to start regulating them. And funny enough, the only reason I think Twitter isn't in the same position that they are right now is because Elon Musk bought it and he released a bunch of the stuff and exposed it. And it also exposed government employees and government people that were trying to influence Twitter, you know? So it's like now that kind of thing, what it does is it removes the government having to split its power and monitor a bunch of these platforms. They go, well, Twitter looks good. I think we're all right there. So like, let's focus on this Facebook thing and find out what's going on there. So it's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a little break from the heaviness and let's look at some actual positive news before we go into some other stuff. This was really cool to me. So there's a new Parkinson's drug. I don't know how to say it. Produodopa to be available on NHS. This came out earlier this year, but it was only started to be implemented in patients and as of like end of April. And so now that people have been using it and on it, they're starting to see results and being able to report in the reporting on it. So this is an older article, but it kind of just explains how the drug works. So nearly 1,000 people with advanced Parkinson's. First person that comes to mind, Michael J. Fox, to me. Are to benefit from a new treatment that involves wearing a portable kit 24 hours a day, uses a pump to steadily release medicine into the bloodstream around the clock. Currently, most patients or many patients need to take at least 20 pills a day to help curb their symptoms, and it's inconsistent. But when I first saw it, I saw it on Twitter. I'm so glad I'm on Twitter. There's so much information out there. This is an example of a patient who's been on it. And the video is a difference of 2 days of being on the medication. So this 52-year-old man said the drug changed his life. Damien Gath became the first patient in East Midlands, England to try the new drug. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's 12 years ago. The following videos were taken just 2 days apart. He can't believe it's him in the video. For the last 3 years, he's been shaking uncontrollably for 2 to 3 hours a day. It's early days, but now he shakes for 5 or 10 minutes a day. So this is amazing.
Look at that.
Like a totally different person.
Yeah.
How frustrating would it be? Because I don't personally know anybody who has Parkinson's, but to be trapped inside of your body, unable to control what it's doing, you know, because your brain's still working. It's just your body's not doing what you want it to do. That's so This is amazing. I thought this was super cool, and I hadn't heard about it. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Good news.
I mean, that is very good news. And the beauty is, like, we'll just keep making more and more strides. I know that Michael J. Fox has invested a lot of time and money into Parkinson's research, and I think it's a very noble cause because he even has said before, like, even if we never get to a point where I'm cured, I know that I'm building a legacy in like a world where like somebody will be cured before, you know, that'll be my legacy, is knowing that I helped somebody else. And I think that that's really cool. So yeah, that is very positive.
Okay.
That's very,
so we had our positive news. Now we got to get back to the cringe. So
yeah,
I'm gonna put a video on.
We smiled for a moment, and now time to get kicked in the ass again.
You get the aw.
Yeah. And then
Oh dear God.
Yeah. Oh no.
Oh, this is a comedy, by the way. This is a new campaign targeting suburban voters. Just a little bit of this and a little
Have you ever thought to yourself, I wish my small town could be more like the urban slums of California? Why can't there be more trash and feces on the streets of this sleepy little town? Well, we've got the solution. Dipshizzy. By voting to install Dipshizzy, you can help every small town in America become more like the dumpster fire that are the cities of California. Dipshizzy won't just destroy small towns either. It works wonders in the countryside too. By pushing socialist economic policies, Dipshizzy can rapidly create inflation, making everything more expensive. Ask yourself if Dipshizzy is right for you and your community. Because why settle for the good life when you can have a California dumpster fire?
Dipshizzy is not intended to treat, prevent, or cure any disease. In fact, Dipshizzy will probably make your life much worse. Side effects of Dipshizzy include overdrawn bank accounts, illegal immigration, and communist-style government. Consult with your father before starting Dipshizzy. Do not start Dipshizzy if you enjoy the First or Second Amendment. If you're a dude who likes to wear thongs, Dipshizzy may be right for you.
That was pretty good.
I'm sorry.
That was pretty good. Especially the last
But
one.
I have to acknowledge some legends in the chat because Adam Reveal gifted 5 memberships, and I'm looking for my sounds. I usually also give him his own because obviously he is gifting memberships from his Lamborghini parked on his yacht in the South Pacific. So
I respect it.
and there's more. But wait, there's more. I am so behind. Our cuz Bud membership for 2 months. Thank you so much. And on top of that, he gifted 20 memberships.
Look at that. That's awesome.
Oh, I thought I had the Jesse Peters. Is it Jesse Peterson? The amazing, but I don't. I have the one that says paid. So I'm not going to click on that one. But much better.
There you go. Yeah, that is a much better sound. Yeah.
Oh, Lordy.
That's awesome.
Okay, on with the Kamala. The Kamala. How do you actually say her name?
She's not black.
Can you do a Trump impression?
No, I have a terrible Trump impression.
I'm
It's
not
so
allowed
bad.
to do impressions.
Really? No, do a Trump impression. We got to see it.
I can't even try. Arcus gets boats and hoes. You're on the boat together, guys.
I think you could do a good Trump impression. I think it's in everybody to be able to do a good Trump impression. I promise I won't judge you.
I have 79 people that would.
Yeah. No, we wouldn't judge you either. We'd be good.
I can't even do it. I try to do the huge thing, and I can't even do that well. Huge.
China. If you just find words that he says and you say them over and over again, like Obama, because he doesn't say Obama, he says Obama. Obama. Yeah. Obama.
I'm gonna come.
He's a criminal. Yeah.
I'm gonna come.
There it goes. StreamYard always cuts it off the first time you hit play. It's like, no, this is important.
Yeah. It's funny. But oh boy, what does she do today? I'm excited about this one.
Didn't I acknowledge you, Adam? I had your thing up there and then we went on a tangent. I am so sorry.
If I was, I may have been the one that distracted you.
Yeah, thank you.
You get extra claps.
Extra claps.
Yeah.
Man.
Look at that.
Oh, I love the anime. Wow. Yeah.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Don't ever think that. It's not what I think. Waifu Kron. Do it. Oh, the accent. No, I can't do the impression. You heard what you're gonna hear, and that's it.
Just practice behind the scenes and then get really good at it and then do it.
I'll work on it.
A trumpet impression. You call yourself trumpet.
So this particular post segues into the next topic.
Oh boy.
But Kamala in 2015.
That's good.
Trump's border wall is xenophobic abomination. No immigrant is illegal. Did she say no immigrant or did she say no person is illegal? I don't remember.
She said that illegal immigrants are not a crime, or being an undocumented immigrant is not a crime.
So, hold on, let me make
it's
enhance. Trump's border wall is just a stupid use of money. I will block any funding for it. I'll say it again. Trump's border wall is a waste of money. We should be using that money for infrastructure, Medicare for all, or tuition-free college. Trump is trying to hold the government hostage over a border wall we don't need that could cost taxpayers $70 billion to build and $150 million a year to maintain. Funding Trump's unrealistic border wall would be a gross misuse of taxpayer money. Okay. Imagine that.
My value around what we need to do to secure our border. That value has not changed. I spent 2 terms as the Attorney General of California prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, violations of American laws regarding the illegal passage of guns, drugs, and human beings across our border. My values have not changed.
So she's been talking as if she hasn't been part of the, ruling administration, for lack of a better phrase. Like the people in charge, she's already on the team of the people in charge. So all these promises, when I'm president, when I'm my administration, it's like, you kind of already are though. So why not now?
Yeah.
Why later?
100%. Yeah. I don't know. That's a
pretty
good question.
But the biggies of the last few days or so pertaining to why we should, why there is a crisis at the border, or, Venezuelan gangs taking over parts of Colorado, apartment complexes. Have you heard about this?
I have not heard about this. Oh my gosh.
Nothing's on the Aurora, Colorado police page for some reason. I wonder why.
Wow.
So an armed Venezuelan gang of illegal immigrants have reportedly taken full control of an apartment complex and parts of the town of Aurora, Colorado.
If I told you this was happening in 2024, would you believe me? Let me tell you how crazy this is. In Aurora, Colorado, there's a Venezuelan gang that has taken over 2 apartment buildings. I kid you not. The landowner has contacted the local authorities. They said there's nothing they can do about it. That's squatter laws, bro. I kid you not. Look this up.
Freaking squatter laws.
He went to the FBI. They said there's nothing they can do. And he even went to the marshals, y'all. And this Venezuelan gang has taken over the apartment building. They're charging the tenants inside rent money like they're the landlords. Meanwhile, the real landlord can't get these people evicted. All the people that's leaving the apartment buildings, as soon as they leave, these Venezuelan gang members are just moving in more gang members to a point where they are taking over the building with guns. It's no more security there. Like, look this up right now. And this is exactly what I was talking about like 2 weeks ago. Oh, not even 2 weeks ago on a couple of my videos. This is what they want. Attack within. Y'all better stay safe. Y'all better stay safe. This is what they want. For the country to be attacked from within.
Well, conservative media has been hold on, my dogs are fighting.
Oh, you're good. It's important. They have to they're letting you guys know. Like, we'll go down there and we'll go fight the Venezuelan gang right now. So I respect it. Hey, what's going on, Legal Vices? See him in the chat hanging out. Yeah, that's pretty wild. Like, of all the places too, a Venezuelan gang. And they picked Colorado. They're like, yo.
Of all places, right?
Yeah.
Weird.
Well, the Colorado makes sense.
My pugs are evil.
Are they? Well, I saw one jumping on the couch earlier, so.
Legal Vices, why is the Fresh Prince yelling at me? Because the Venezuelans are taking over Colorado.
Yeah.
No,
Will
but
Smith is upset.
A lot of people that were covering a lot of conservatives that were covering what was happening at the border, showing the footage of a sea of people just coming over, right? They also pointed out there's a bunch of military age men traveling alone here. That's weird, right? It's not families looking for a safe place to start over and, get that American dream. It's like, what are all these 20-year-old men doing here?
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's wild too, because once again, if it was just news pundits saying it, or Fox News is the one talking about it. I live you too.
3PO.
Yeah.
Aww.
Is it I live you, or is it I live you?
Live.
No, that's not what he said. He said live. He
said it twice. Love twice.
Yeah, he was trying to correct himself. He's like, please. The thing is, this is coming from social media.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are people on social media going, yo, I live here. I'm telling you what's happening. And like we just talked about earlier, the problem with social media is it gives fire to the people. It allows people to say things. And are everything that people say going to be true? No. But typically, you can find enough confirmations of something happening. You can find multiple angles of things happening. You can find multiple people videotaping things. You can't really hide stuff like this.
So here's more footage to, bolster the claims. It's like,
Venezuelans is taking over. They just jacked them? Oh, me. These niggas is out here tripping.
I mean, like, it's just chaos.
Yeah.
Bro, damn, they done made a mess of shit.
Nigga, y'all are on bullshit out here.
It's crazy.
Bullshit.
Oh, shit. What the? Yeah, they're tripping.
Look at that parking lot, bro.
Nigga, they cracking off in the air and everything. They driving over the... Nigga, we almost just got hit.
And like, the thing is, are these the people to lie about this? Like, are these the guys that are going to lie about it? Like, why would they have any reason to make this up? Why are they like, oh,
Right.
yeah, these are Venezuelans, like, for sure, like, because we're racist or, like, we're, you
Right,
know,
you can't say
it's,
that.
yeah, like, it's just wild, though. Like, and, you know, I know that's
Sorry.
crazy. Well, and I
Autoplay.
know the mayor is trying to deny it. And apparently the Aurora Police Department established a special task force to address the concerns. And then the DEA is involved. But they said the evidence to show the gang is connected to crimes in the area, the APD has been increasingly collecting evidence to show the gang is connected to crimes in the area. Where we said previously, as the DEA similarly stated, be improper at this time for the city and the APD to make any conclusory statements about the specific incidents or provide details about law enforcement strategy and operation. So, and now they're saying that this is isolated. They believe this whole thing happening in Aurora is isolated and not going on anywhere else. But it's
Everything's
like, so
in control. Don't look behind the curtain.
yeah, everything. Yeah, it's like that from Police Squad or whatever. Everything's under control. Please disperse. Or the Naked Gun. That's what it was. Yeah,
Naked
Gun. But it's like
everything's on fire.
Yeah, and exploding and the stuff in the background. This is crazy. We can go ahead and play this.
This is a ring camera inside of that apartment building, and they're kicking tenants out.
Look at that. That's crazy.
I mean, they're so casual about it. It looks like almost like they've done this before, maybe.
Yeah,
Like,
100%. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It becomes a base of operations. They can sell drugs. They can do whatever they want. They give the people free places to live. You know. Yeah, it's nuts. Look at that.
nothing to see here, people.
Nope.
Everything's under control.
That's wild.
But
what a mess, man.
So the news may not necessarily be talking about it as much as maybe they should. But something that happened in Southern California, in San Diego, in the last day, the news had to talk about it because it involved 2 school buses full of elementary school children.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So this is from Channel 5 in San Diego. Illegal aliens tried to hijack 2 buses full of kids on their way to school.
What?
This morning while it was traveling. A group of migrants tried to board a school bus this morning while it was traveling to a school. The superintendent for the Humboldt del Zura Union School District informed parents of that incident earlier today. It happened at one of the stops on the school district's bus route that heads to Oak Grove Middle School and Humboldt Primary. Meanwhile, yesterday afternoon, in a similar area along another route, the superintendent says that a group of migrants tried to stop another bus. Border Patrol, CHP, and the sheriff.
So if it happened at another stop, was it a coincidence or was it an organized effort?
Definitely an organized effort. And here's
Seems
the
that way.
thing. A couple of things about that. Well, California has been a very staunch resistant to homeschooling. They try to make it illegal. They have a lot of regulations on it because they don't want people homeschooling. But this would be a perfect opportunity to get your kids the fuck up out them schools. And the other part of this is, like you said, it's happened multiple times. If it happens once, it's a massive concern. Twice, too much. Twice is too much. And the side of things that, and this is actually kind of part of that like whole balance thing, is that the left, specifically the left, and specifically people on the left, are not gun users.
Right.
They typically are not people that have guns or arm themselves. So you are passing policies that protect and embolden people to act a certain way, that may have some guns, but are not the primary like pushers of things like 2A. They're not primary pushers of like gun control and gun usage and self-defense and stuff like that. This will just embolden the other side to say like, all right, cool. Like you want to do this, then there will be bloodshed.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing, like taking candy from a baby. So it's like you make this big show about being anti-gun and pro immigration and pro all these things. The only people that aren't okay, so the gun laws in California are totally ridiculous. I just went through the process to get my concealed carry permit. And it took almost 6 months and lots of hurdles to get it because we're not a free state. The only people that are going through the process to do it are law-abiding citizens that aren't going to be shooting up anybody.
Yes.
Do you know who doesn't give a rat's ass what bill is passed, what law is passed about gun control? Criminals gonna criminal. The people that are going to commit crimes go, ooh, easy pickings. They're not going to be able to defend themselves. I'm going to go there. On top of it, I'm going to go for their kids. Like, the formula is so stupidly simple. And they choose to grandstand on these what is it? Social, what is that word? Virtue signaling. That's what I'm looking for. The virtue signal of it all. And it's
I couldn't think of the word either.
Brain fades happen. I'm getting old. But let's finish this one. I think there's a couple seconds left. And then there's an article from PJ Media, who's a right-leaning publication. I would say centrist, but in recent
Sheriff's
times,
office have now been informed of these incidents. The superintendent says that for the safety of everyone, if a driver sees a group of migrants at a bus stop, they will drive past it on and move on to the next.
But the other side,
what do you think about that solution? Oh, if there's a group of migrants, what do migrants look like? Are we racially profiling people now? I mean, I think it'd be
the other
pretty
part of
obvious
that is there are going to be other kids at that bus stop. So you're just going to drive past and those kids aren't going to go to school? Like that's your solution?
So they put out a statement to the parents that if the school bus goes past to meet up at the next stop. It's so stupid to me.
That's insane.
This solution is insane.
That's absolutely nuts. Well, and once again, it's the least forward thinking way to deal with it. Well, we don't want to, let's just drive away from it and then we don't have to think about it. Then we don't have to deal with it. And it's like, no, sooner or later, they'll just get more bold about it. No, sooner or later, they'll just start pushing more aggressively on it. And the fact is, why are they getting on school buses with kids?
Right.
Why are they getting on kids' school buses? Like that's a huge no-no. Like, no, what you do realistically is you put somebody that is armed on a bus and you say, if you get on this bus, you are not a child. Like, I will give you one warning and then you will be dead, because guess what? You don't get to mess with kids. Like, that's a no-no. Or you put a police car and that escorts them. It shouldn't happen that way, but you have to respond one way or another to make it stop. You have to allow people they have to know that they can't stop. And the problem is too, and I don't mean this as a mean thing, and I don't mean it to be racist or whatever, that the fact is some of these people don't even speak English. And if they don't speak English, then you talking to them ain't going to make a damn difference to them. They don't care. They know they can't speak that you can't speak English. They don't care. The only thing that they understand is violence. It is a universal language. I am not a big advocate of violence as a rule, but even with my kids, I teach them like, a good example, and this only exists for my kids in the context of other children, is like if a kid hits you or a kid messes with you, specifically with my daughter too, because years ago we had an issue where she was like a boy like hit her at school or something, and I said, okay, here's how you deal with this. I said, if a boy hits you and you've told him to stop, you go to your teacher. I don't even like let it happen and don't say something. Like if a boy hits you, you go to your teacher, says, hey, he hit me, and let the teacher deal with it. And if the teacher doesn't deal with it, say, listen, if they hit me again, I'm going to hit them myself. I'm going to get violent and I'm going to respond in kind. And I told my daughter this, and I said, and if you get in trouble for hitting a kid and you've gone through the steps that dad has presented to you of like going to an authority to protect you and to prevent this thing from happening, and someone still wants to put their hands on you, I said, I will come and defend you myself. And I will make sure that daddy handles the business, because guess what? You don't put your hands on people that are not yours. Or because universal language is violence. That is how human beings have to work out things all the time. You've done a thing to me that I didn't like. You've continued to do the thing that I didn't like to me. And if you don't stop, then I'm going to respond violently to you to make you stop doing it. You know?
Right.
And that's the unfortunate side of this, is like some of these people don't speak English. They don't care about English, and they don't care about you because they're here in survival mode. And people in survival mode don't care about other people's well-being. No. They care about their own well-being. They care about them and theirs.
Yep.
And that's an unfortunate position. But the thing is, the government right now, especially in California, is not making its citizens safe in the way that it's handling this. It is not putting people in a position of empowerment to be able to help these people. You know?
Yeah.
So I'll let you continue with the story here, but yeah.
Oh no, you're doing great. And I totally agree. You tell a teacher, it keeps happening. Swift kick to the nuts. Go for it, girl.
It's done. We're done. Yeah. Like I told him, I said, I want you to hit that kid as hard as you can in the face. And if they swing back, I said, you just keep swinging on them. I said, it's better for you to go down swinging than let somebody put their hands on you, because most sane people that get popped in the mouth the first time will stop. If they're not sane, then they shouldn't even be in that school in the first place. Like, you know, and I will be the first one in the school telling the cops, like, this is how we do things, or this is what happened. And, you know, but you know, that once again, you know, this is the thing too. I grew up where I grew up in, we had a big migrant community. So these were, temporary people. They didn't live here all year round. They'd come up here from Mexico, and they would work for the warm season. Go ahead.
Oh no, agreeing seasonally.
Yep, seasonal workers. And they come here, and the fortunate thing is they didn't like snow, and we have a lot of snow here, so they didn't want to stay around anyways. So then they'd work, and then they'd leave, and they go back down. And I had friends that I only would see during the warm seasons, and I'd leave. Well, here's the thing. Right on the cusp of high school, I had a couple of buddies of mine who lived on the border of Mexico and Texas, and they were telling me, they go, yo, like, cause I had one friend who lived in Texas, and I had another friend who lived in Mexico, and the friend from Texas was talking about how the friend from Mexico had joined a gang down there in Mexico because the only way to stay safe. And he was telling he went and visited family down in Texas, and he was like, yeah, it's just all gangs down there now. He's like, it's completely overrun with gangs and cartels and drug dealers and stuff. He's like, the town like isn't even the same anymore. And I remember him telling me that was the last time he ever visited. And the very unfortunate side of this story is I have two different people now that I grew up with that are dead due to that kind of violence down there. They went back to Mexico, they got involved in gang violence, and now they're gone, you know? So what's going on, this stuff has been going on for a long time. The fact that there's any place in Texas overrun with cartels and gang violence and gangs from Mexico and stuff like that, and drug runners from Mexico is a problem, you know? And so you're allowing these people who this is how they got here, and this is how they, you know, responded. And not everybody's like this. I know there's extremes or whatever, but these people are going in other places. going, I'm going to escape this violence, or I still am part of the violence and I'm establishing a foothold. I'm from Venezuela and I'm part of a gang, so I'm going to go take over an apartment complex. Because what does that even mean? Why do you take over apartment complex? It's not just for you and your buddies, it's for other people.
Right. It's not just they were looking for a place to crash,
Yeah.
needed an apartment.
Yep. And now we have a lot of space.
There were
and I
bigger
can call my
plans.
friends. And now our other buddies can move in here and live here. Yeah. What a mess, man.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, the situation with the migrants, this article refers to them as the illegals. I mean, they're illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Growing up, it was always illegal aliens, and it didn't have a negative connotation to it. It was just they were here illegally. Alien is not a slur. It's just you're a foreign person. So about 20 of them. I don't think they mentioned it in that news clip, but about 20 of them. So, I mean, if it was just a few guys trying to get on the bus, I mean, to say it's an attempted hijacking, for some people, they might think that's a stretch, but there's freaking 20?
Yeah.
Definitely trying to hijack that. So the superintendent sent a letter to parents explaining that they were walking down Highway 94 when they attempted to stop school buses. The first incident happened along Route A. The three men were walking in the middle of the highway in an attempt to stop one of the buses, forcing the driver to go around them. The following morning, a gang of 20 attempted to board a bus on Route B as the driver was picking up students from the same stop. But this time, parents helped the driver keep the men from entering the bus. Parents had to keep them from getting on. Bruh. They're going to need to put, like you said, law enforcement at each stop.
Yep. And if this, I'm telling you, like, if this was any other place, if this was Florida, this was Texas, hell, we got guns up here, man. If this is like any other place, and you try to get up on a bus full of kids and a parent has to stop you, you're likely getting shot. Like, that's just it. 20 people come walking up, try to get on a bus that don't belong on the bus. Like, somebody's getting fucked up. I'm swinging, I'm throwing hands or baseball bats or whatever I got on my person. And if you're in the wrong place, the great equalizer is right there, and your numbers don't mean nothing because I'll just start blowing you all away. Like, I mean, that's just the reality of it. Like, that is, the kids shouldn't be having to deal with that, and parents shouldn't be having to stop people from trying to get on buses. Like,
yeah,
that's wild.
And one of the kids said that they were adults. They weren't kids, but they had backpacks on and they were trying to get on the bus, and that there were a lot of them. That's a little traumatizing for 8-year-old kids.
Yep. And you can't tell me they didn't know that wasn't a school bus. Like, you can't tell me they didn't know.
They've probably been casing that route for days, if not weeks.
Yep. Oh yeah, I saw this the California Dream for All. Look at what your tax dollars is, y'all. Like, yeah. Give illegals 20% for a down payment on the house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's wild.
Give non-citizens here illegally a 20% down payment to buy a home up to, I mean, $150,000 doesn't exist here anymore, but still, that may be why they're promoting it, the whole virtue signal again, because it doesn't really exist. But at the same time, where does that money come from?
Yep. Tax-paying
It comes
citizens.
from people like me who live here that pay taxes, that are law-abiding. It's so insulting. It's like insult to injury every time California does any of this bullshit, and they think that they're so great for it. Like, no.
But what they're doing, and this is the thing, we've been saying it for a while, like, why are you giving illegal immigrants all of these benefits? Why do you hand, like, keys to a house to a random person? Like, why, when a person comes into town that you find important and you take them out to dinner, why are you doing it? Because you want access.
Wine and dine
to them. Wine and dine them. Oh, look at that. Well, here's some money that you can put down on a house. First of all, they're giving them a 20% down payment. So what is that? $20,000?
20% of 150?
Yeah.
So like what, 35-ish?
Maybe, yeah.
I can't do math.
I'm bad at math too. Let me see here.
Prophetic Apathetic said this will bring back
$30,000. Yes. Well, that's the thing. So are they giving them this money to put a down payment on a house, or are they giving them the money? That's the other thing that we don't know is, like, how does this program work? Because how are they even signing up for this program? And how are they getting this money? Like, are they just saying, hey, we will give it to you if you found a house in this price range, or is it we'll give you the money now and go find the house? Because that's the other part of it.
So what about the whole argument? I'm sorry, they don't know how to get an ID, so we can't require an ID, but they can figure out how to run a stinking program like this.
Yep.
And take advantage of a program like this.
They
Oh, but they
buy
can't get an ID.
fucking house.
How can you buy a house without an ID? Thank you.
Watch my black ass just randomly show up to somebody and go, "Yo, I got $30,000 to put on this house," and they go, "Cool, where's your info?" I don't have any. I'm Manuel from Mexico. They're like, "No, I'm not selling you my house. Like, I don't know anything about you. You could just give me the 30,000. I give you the keys to the house. You could just disappear with it." Like, that's wild shit. The only answer that I can think of, the only answer I can think of, and they will never tell you if they're doing it, that they're handing out fake IDs and handing out fake identities.
Oh.
Because if you do that, then they can walk into a voter booth, say, "Here's my ID, and I'm voting for," and that's why, I mean, the thing is, like, we all know, it's not even like a secret anymore that they have these people funneled all over the United States now. They're everywhere. Showing up all over the United States in all different countries. A lot of swing states are showing up, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they're all here already doing this. Yeah, it's a mess.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Well, I think we need some palate cleansers. What do you think?
Palate cleansers are good. Yeah. Look at that.
Oh,
It's the cutest thing ever.
Are you a cat person or dog person?
I'm both. I like both. I'm both. I love dogs. Okay. I love cats. I love them for different reasons. The only thing I wish is that if dogs could have a litter box, dogs would be perfect. Mostly because I just do not feel like cleaning up their dog. I hate cleaning up poop. I don't like wiping my own kids' butts half the time. I'm like, well, my youngers, when they were younger, I'm like, listen, bro. Like, yeah.
You got to get potty trained. I can't do this anymore.
I'll tell this story real quick because I think it's funny. Because
sure.
You have kids, right?
I have one.
Okay. So my son, he's my middle child. When he was being potty trained, my daughter took to potty training like it was like her day job. She just wanted, it was like, "Yo, I want to go on the potty," and I was like, "Really?" And she's like, "Yeah, because it makes me feel grown and important." She didn't say that, but that was what the gist was. Yeah. So she potty trained super fast and super easy. I was like, "Look at this. This is rad." My son, however, was like, "Yeah, I get the potty thing. I know how it works. I don't really want to do it." So he kept pooping in his diaper, and I was like, "Listen, bro." And then one day, and this is how I potty train him, and I don't care if this is bad parenting because it probably is. One day I just remember he pooped in his pants, like in his diaper, and I sat him down and I started cleaning him up, and I said, "Yo, dude, listen." And he's looking at me, laying there with his pants down. I go, "Dude, I'm done with this diaper thing. I can't do it anymore. I'm sick of the smell. I'm sick of cleaning up after you. You know how to use it. I need you to start using the toilet, bro. I can't do that. I cannot change another poopy diaper." And he was like, "Okay." And then he went.
He got it.
He got it. He figured it out. Because I think he was just like, "I can't walk around poop in my pants no more." But yeah, I like, it's terrible, but I just couldn't do it anymore. I just hit my limit. And then of course I had another one, and so now I have to change poopy diapers again. But it was still just funny. I felt bad a little bit, but also I was like, "Nah, I just can't do it anymore, bro." And he got it. He was like, "Okay, all right, I'll figure it out." So yeah, that's my potty training story.
That's great. I love it. Okay, before we go to the palate cleanser, because I had to show 2 forms of ID when I bought my house, along other paperwork, and yet our government is just giving housing away to illegal immigrants. Figure that out. Nonsense.
Yep. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Kitties.
Meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, meow.
Meow. Bro, that cat was giving him the side eye too, though. It was like, "What did you just do to me?" That was actually really funny. I know. He was like, "Yo, I'm not feeling this at all," which kind of leans in the bat cat angle. That's pretty good. It's funny.
Okay, another funny.
Do you have any more? So I just got this shirt, and if I charge it with this black light, look, it glows in the dark.
Yo, that's
dude,
awesome.
that's awesome, man.
That's so sweet.
Oh no, bro.
Do you have any more of those? I kind of want one.
Yeah.
Can I get one of those?
You know what? I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Oh, yeah, you want to come with me?
Sure. Yeah.
Did you?
Oh no, bro. That's
We'll just be like-
really fucking funny though. That's wild, bro. Oh no, that's pretty good. Wow.
And then one more funny, but it's also kind of the next segment. We'll do the
Oh, here we
bumper
go.
after this one. Have you seen these? Unpopular
have
opinion,
not.
but I think being a barista is one, if not the hardest job out there. The constant movement, making coffees even when you don't want to, showing up after you got misgendered the previous day, cleaning stuff you really don't want to. Pay us more. Broken heart.
Yeah. Womp womp.
I've seen so many.
Had. I used to be a barista.
It's pretty good. That's
Have you seen those videos of like Starbucks and coffee house employees like just crying and breaking down because they've
I
just
have not.
they've met their limit? Yeah.
Oh God. See, I'm on TikTok, but I know I'm not. I shouldn't be. I know people are like, don't be on that app. But I'm on it, and no, I pretty much just get memes all the time. So, and
I mean,
try
that's
to
what
avoid,
it should be for.
Yeah, I try to avoid things like this. When I see people crying on the app, I just immediately I'm like not interested. No thanks. Yeah, that's wild. I can't even imagine working as a barista and be like, this job is so hard.
The hardest job ever.
Yeah.
All right, next segment. Mental health is no joke, but some people definitely are. If you or someone you love are experiencing manic episodes, having sudden urges to shave your head and or dance around the house with butcher knives, or feel compelled to try on your sister's, mother's, or wife's clothing and subsequently experience a euphoria boner, we strongly encourage you to speak to a licensed professional. That's it. That's the disclaimer.
Grab the popcorn and get ready, folks. It's time for the unhinged, the unwell, and the unbalanced.
Hello.
Damn, that's wild. Look at that intro. That was something, man. Oh.
You gotta Jewish it up.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
Jewish, yeah, a little very demure. Yeah.
I'm not as slick as other people with their producers and all their other nonsense. I gotta
Hey, listen, I don't even, like I said, I don't have any of these like
You don't
little
need-
like segment things. So I think it's pretty awesome. I was like, I dig it. It's fancy. Yeah.
I make myself laugh. If anyone else laughs, it's incidental, and I appreciate you. But so did you hear about the lawsuit between Giggle and Tickle in Australia?
And that already sounds
You have not. Okay, so apparently Giggle is an app based in Australia. The CEO founder is Sal Grover. Jeez, oh, my mouse is on the wrong screen. Sal Grover here. So there was a transgender person that wanted to be allowed on the app, which was female only for young women and women to talk to other women. And Ms. Tickle, who is named that by the judge, by the way, Ms. Tickle, was awarded $10,000 in legal fees and all the things because Australia is lost. And yeah, so let's just read it. $10,000 plus legal costs were awarded to Ms. Tickle. Ms. Tickle sued the owner of the app, which is for girls. It's a girl space because they found out he was male. The judge referred to him as Ms. Tickle. Ms. Tickle, this is a brave, stunning, and beautiful woman. And if you say Ms. Tickle is not, and what the name Miss Tickle? You know, a lot of trans people get hate or, you know, negative comments because they seem to be fetishizing womanhood. And to choose a name like Ms. Tickle, it only perpetuates the stereotype, you know, because I mean, honestly, so
wow,
they are online as the Roxy Epoch.
They're on the internet at all. Oh no.
They're out and proud and gloating over their win. But get this, in Australia, this is from their legal documents, the court documents, was male sex at time of birth, but is now recognized by an official updated Queensland birth certificate issued under the Births, Deaths, and Marriages Registration Act of 2003 as being of the female sex, which is contrary to everything that, you know, a lot of the liberals are arguing over here, because they say sex is different than gender, right? So they say a trans woman is a woman, but biologically they are male. They will concede to that.
Yeah.
But here they're just throwing biology out the window, and it's female sex. And I have seen other places where they get passports and it says sex F. You know, they can legally go through the process to do that. But just seeing it in a court document, this is just crazy.
Yeah.
So their updated birth certificate gives rise to an entitlement to be referred to by female pronouns. Accordingly, in these reasons, I will refer to her as Ms. Tickle. Roxanne Tickle. Good grief. And Roxy is adding Buck Angel because Buck Angel is a transgender man, right?
Yeah, like,
He
but
says
yeah,
he's
and I've met Buck a couple times online and stuff. But I'm like, you want Buck to get in on this conversation? Because
Right?
Buck's gonna lay this like smackdown on you about this shit. Like, yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, I really like Buck's takes on things. Not delusional, totally realistic about the situation. Buck's like, I have a dysphoria. I know it's in the DSM. I mean, it's a condition. It's mental. I understand that. But to try to like force people to take your issues and make it a reality, or you know, encourage your delusions or your, you know, disorder, it's crazy. But they are doing this in Australia. Australia is fucked between COVID and their policies. Remember the camps that they were putting together?
I do. I remember that there was a guy reporting on him, and a guy from Australia called in and said, that's not true. None of this is happening. None of it's real. There are no camps. And then another guy called in and he goes, bullshit. Like, there are absolutely camps here. And then right after that, like the next day, an article came out about a guy who traveled internationally and he didn't have the vaccine. And he came to Australia and they said, yo, we need to test you for COVID. He tested negative. They said, yeah, but you could get it because you don't have the vaccine. They tried to put him in one of the camps and he like slipped out in the middle of the night to go home, and they hunted him down and found him and brought him back to the camp. But remember, they didn't exist. They were totally optional. And
Voluntary, totally. Do you recall a video when a lot of the Australians had enough and they were like pouring through the streets and like busting through cop barricades? Do you remember seeing some of those?
That. Yeah.
There was one in particular that I have not been able to find since. And at the time, people were saying it's the Australian Jason Bourne, because he took out cop after cop after cop, just barehanded, just like flipped them. And it was like, holy shit, this is amazing. And then I went to look for it later and I can't find it.
Interesting. I have to look that out.
It's a modern era.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can find it, I would love that.
I'll see if I can find it. So I did look this up though, Giggle crowdfund, because, I think this is against Giggle. No, this is for
Giggle.
No, this is against Giggle. Yeah. Here's a man with the gender identity of a woman in question. Yeah. I think this is to appeal the case.
Well, Giggle is the app.
Okay,
Pickle
gotcha.
Is the this person.
Gotcha. Okay, so I think this person is I think Giggle is raising money to fight this. And they've already raised like $125,000. They need 850 as their appeal target, but they're actually raising money right now to like fight against this. Yep.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, 10 grand isn't like life altering money, but it's the point. I think
it's the principle of the matter, and that's what they say in that my case is likely to have far-reaching consequences. It's the first time that the gender amendments have been tested in a court of law. This case will not only benefit all Australians, international law and policy by bringing clarity to a very important part of the law. Be part of it. There is no contribution that's too small. But yeah. Yep. It's wild though. That's absolutely insane.
Well, I'm glad they're fighting it.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, like, from my perspective, I've talked about this before, because I never want to put anybody in blast or anything, so I keep their identity quiet and private. But like, I have a very, very close friend of mine who is trans. And when I met them, that's what they were going through. And it was something that they had been dealing with for, you know, a significant portion of their life and stuff like that. And I was never forced to, well, because this person is male presenting, they don't ask people to use she, her pronouns or anything like that. But if you get to know this person, like out of respect, anybody that I meet out of respect, as long as it's within my ability to do so, I really struggle with they, them pronouns. But like within my like ability to do so, I will try to respect whatever your identity is. If you tell me your name is Roxanne, you want to be called Roxanne, and we're good friends, cool. I will never be friends with this person. I can just say that right now.
Well, even still. So I went to a concert in Los Angeles back in October. Lots of blue haired. It's California. I met somebody who went by the name Charlotte. Obviously, a transgender person or a non-binary, whatever. But Charlotte wanted to be called Charlotte. I just avoided using she, her, when she, her, he, him when talking to other people around, and I just said Charlotte.
Yep.
It's kind of the safest way to go. I don't want to offend people, especially if they're not like shoving it in my face. Like Charlotte did not say, I'm this, you must call me that, you know, XYZ. That's fine. I don't give a shit. If you're an adult, you want to live away, by all means, do your thing.
Yep.
But it's when these types of people that try to invade spaces and compel speech and get people in trouble because you're not affirming their delusions. That's where I have an issue.
Yeah.
You make it someone else's problem, then I have a problem.
Yep. You
and kids, leave kids alone.
Yeah, well, leave kids the fuck alone. Yeah, but yeah, you step into my space, and you're telling me how I need to talk to you and respond. I'm like, nah, get fucked. Sorry, bro. Like that ain't how this is not how this works. You don't get to get indignant on behalf of yourself if I don't know who the fuck you are and don't think that you're deserving of my respect. That's just how it works. Because it's a matter of respect. I respect this person. Yeah. I'm friends with this person, and
another level.
We had a conversation about something, and I made a decision for myself of my own ability to respond to them a certain way. That's my business between them, you know. But if my friend was going off screaming at everybody, going like, "It's ma'am," it's like, like, well, you don't get to do that to people. That's just not how it works. Because respect is earned. It's not. You can't demand respect from people. In fact, demanding respect from people likely get you the opposite. It'll get you disrespect.
Well, that's always the thing, right? It used to be when homosexuals were, you know, weren't looked as favorably in society. They're like, we just want to be normal people and be left alone. And then it went from just living amongst everybody, not caring.
Yep.
That was great for a time. And then it was, no, you have to celebrate my sexuality. Yes. You have to think it's a parade worthy event on who I want to have coitus with. Like it's just escalated. I mean, the 90s, people act like the 90s didn't exist. We had everything pretty good in the 90s.
Yeah, the 90s were solid. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, TGIF, right? Mixed race families, black families, dinosaur families. Like everybody, it was fine. Nobody cared. I grew up in the 90s. I didn't know that the world was as racist as all of a sudden it is. It's like, no, we knew that people like that existed. But systemically and just societally, like, no, everyone was fine. It was like, you know,
there was even
Steve Urkel was like the coolest thing. And they did have those heart-to-heart sensitive episodes every now and then.
Yes. With about lots of different issues, all kinds of different things. But like, yeah, there was an episode, if you dealt with black families, there was an episode of like Family Matters where Eddie got arrested by a racist cop and Carl called him out for it. There's an episode where Will and Carlton got arrested by a racist cop. They got called out for it. You know, they didn't spend the whole time talking about how it was hard to be a black man, how difficult it was. I mean, hell, we grew up on the Cosby Show, and like, while Bill Cosby did a lot of bad stuff, well, he did one thing a lot of times that was real bad. Like
allegedly.
Well, you know, some of them were alleged. Some of them they flat out admitted they did. But yeah, he wasn't supposed to be able to be prosecuted for it. The thing is, like, it was fucked up. He did bad. He did bad. The Cosby Show, though, listen, Huxtable family was great. Like, Yeah. What was it, Cliff?
And
yeah, it was Cliff
to be
Huxtable.
fair,
He wasn't out there lacing people's drinks.
like, okay, even as far back as All in the Family,
Yeah.
Archie, you know, he was kind of a racist.
He was racist as fuck. Yeah.
But he had black neighbors, and they came together, and you know, they had moments, and it was kind of like this uh, coming together and bridging that gap between two worlds at the time.
Yeah.
It's people like focus on the fact that he was racist. Yes, he was. He was a character.
He was also
But he was
sexist, and
softened,
he was also like,
so
yeah.
don't forget that. It's fine. But it also showed character development and adjusting with the times. And, you know, but in the last 10 years or so, no, since Obama,
Yep.
someone that looks like me, you know, he started that rhetoric of,
Yeah.
you know, because someone who looks like me could never be president, or, you know, they don't respect someone who looks like me. Made it very much about the skin tone versus the policies. And that was kind of the beginning. And then all of a sudden, in the last 6 years, 8 years, Trumpish, I guess, you have this new generation that only knows the rhetoric from the last 10, 15 years.
Yes. Yep.
And they had no idea that we were in a better place 25 years ago.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, bro, like we didn't talk like this. Like, well, I made a joke to somebody the other day. I was like, back in the day, like in the 90s and stuff, we had you had gay, straight, and bi, and that was it. And you were one of those three. And if you were, most people knew if you were, at least the gay one. Like everybody kind of, we all just kind of like knew or whatever. But like you also had like tomboys, girls are like, yo, that chick wears a suit to prom, and she's probably finger banging the prom queen, but we just kind of knew it was a thing. We didn't really give a fuck. Or sometimes you're like, yo, that girl's wearing a suit to prom, and she's dating a guy, and they were fine, and they were happy that way. Like all of that stuff happened. Another thing, by the way, as Archie Bunker, because a lot of people don't remember this, Archie Bunker had a trans character in it. There were three episodes. There were 3 episodes with this character in it. Her name was Beverly. And this was before like trans was like fully out in the open, but there was a character like that, and they died in the show. They died, and like they made a huge deal about it, and it was like a really tough episode. And like as cantankerous and awful as Archie was, like he actually missed that person because they were friends. Like it was about respect. It wasn't about entitlement to praise or to entitlement to respect, because no one is entitled to that. But like you said, yeah, this rhetoric has been pushed, and they're pushing it knowing that the next generation will grow up with that rhetoric, because, well, it's a rabbit trail. I'll try to be quick about this. Because if people get to a point where they stop looking at themselves as a victim, they will go out and do things as an empowered person will, and they'll have the help of everyone around them that is treating them like a regular person. So you have a black person that goes to college and is working really hard to get through college. They will have people that just naturally come alongside of them to help them and want to help them and see them succeed, and they'll run into difficulties and struggles. Sometimes it may be racism, other times it may just be people are being assholes to them or whatever the thing is. But the reality was, if everybody's in the same playing field and nobody's living in a victimhood all the time, and everyone's not a victim because of their inherent traits, you'll protect victims. You'll find people that have been attacked, or you'll find people that are being victims of racism or victims of some other kind of bad thing, and you will protect those people. But when everybody in an entire group is considered a victim, you cannot protect those people. You don't have the resources nor the ability, and those people don't have the ability now, are being told they don't have the ability to protect themselves. So who's the only person that has the resources and the ability to step in and protect them? Good old Mr. Government, who's using your tax dollars to gotta step up and go, hey, I'll protect you. Don't worry about it, Mr. Black Man. I got your back. You know, let me give you affordable housing. And you go, yeah, I don't really need affordable housing. I kind of need you to like stop gerrymandering my districts. Or like, hey, I kind of need you to stop, like, I don't know, building projects in neighborhoods that then like fuck up the economy in an area. It's like, we were in a good spot in the 90s where people were getting much closer to being on each other's side and working together. And now we're in a world where, because, and this is the other side of the thing, because of the internet, We now have access to information that we didn't before. This happened in Canada. They found all of these schools that were Canadian-run, government-funded schools, and they found mass graves in behind these schools of Native American children. A ton of them.
Oh,
And they were
wow.
like, yo, what the fuck is going on with this? And they were like, yeah, well, they were like, yeah, these kids were being mistreated and abused. Sometimes they would die, and then they would bury them and hide their bodies. And there was all these mass graves about this. This happened in New York too. New York, they were building this building, and a lot of people don't know New York is built on top of like they build on top of old buildings and stuff like that. They were building a building, and then they demolished it to make way for another building, and they found a mass grave with like 250 slave bodies in it because they were just throwing them in this like ditch and stuff. They don't talk about this stuff. Because that's the stuff that you start to realize if everybody's working together, if everybody's on the same page, nobody's a victim, then you start to go, well, who is victimizing us in the first place? And then guess who is? Big Daddy government sitting here going, oh, well, damn, maybe I did have a hand in all of this stuff. And if I did have a hand in all this stuff, then maybe people won't trust me anymore. And maybe people won't have my back anymore. And maybe they'll start uniting against us and passing policies and running for government. And people that don't normally run for office because they're not selfish pieces of shit will run for office because they're trying to protect victims. You cannot have people working together. And so that's what happens a lot. But now this narrative has been pushed that you're a victim because you're trans, you're a victim because you're gay, you're a victim because you're black. And then all of the things that have been perpetuated on them, they deflected to, look at white people are the reason that you're in the position you are. Not the government. White people are the reason you're where you are. You know? And then then it deflects, and now they're mad at white. So now black people are mad at white people. And you go, what white people? Well, just white people in general. Okay.
All of you.
All of you. Every single one of you is bad. And you're like, well, that's not how that works. But, you know, so I say all that to say back at the end of it, like, that's why the narrative is being pushed that it is, because those divides allow the people in power to maintain power, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it kind of segues into this one. This is
nailing it.
A woman says she will only hire black people because she has an anti-racism policy. This is a black woman-owned company that centers to the needs of black people. It's a little ironic.
Yikes. Yeah. Oh dear. I can't wait to hear what she has to say.
Right? Make sure you can hear it well and good.
Yeah.
Here with no red hat. We ain't making America great again because they ain't never been great. How did you happen to hire a team of all black women? I write my job descriptions such that they attract black women. I have an anti-racism policy. I have a sentence that said, this is a black woman-owned company that centers the needs of black people. We are very clear in my values. My values are really clear even in the job description, that it not only attracts, but it also repels certain values and beliefs.
And this is, once again, a really funny thing. Capitalism naturally weeds these people out. But not if the government bails you out, or not if the government is creating programs that say, hey, do you have a black-owned business? Well, here's all this money that gets started on this stuff. Here's grants to help your black-owned business. Oh, wow, you're filling in DEI initiatives. Like, well, here's all this money to help your programs and stuff like that. Capitalism will weed you out because you go, yo, I only hire black women, and this is a black-owned company, and whatever service we provide, blah, blah, blah. And then people go, I don't really like you, and I don't really want to come here and go to you. I don't really like what you have to offer. I don't like your personality. You're not offering a service to me that inherently means anything to me. And guess what? Your business fucking goes under. But nowadays, if a business goes under, well, it's because the racists were out here doing it.
Obviously.
Oh, the racists, yeah. It's the racists that made the Acolyte get canceled. Not, you know.
So
actually,
along the lines of capitalist mindset, like Law of Self-Defense had commented, shouldn't every company be free to write their hiring notices in a similar manner as they think best? Which under a capitalist environment, you get to dictate how you want your business to run. But also, like you're saying, the consequences of doing such, this isn't even considering HR lawsuits and discrimination, all that stuff.
Nope,
but
because that was the other side of it. Yeah.
Yeah, go.
It's illegal. It's illegal to do that. Like, unless you live in a place where they try to change the law. But you know what? Federal government don't give a fuck. If I take you to the Supreme Court and go, yo, she wouldn't hire me because I'm a black man, because I'm a man, Like,
Oh, it would be
let's
done
go.
and dusted.
Yeah, let's throw down and let's see how this goes for you, you know. But that's really the problem, is, you know, and the thing is, like, I know a person that I'm friends with, that they work in government, and they work specifically in like homeless, in the homeless sector. They're trying, like, they trying to create programs that assist homeless people and try to get them out of being homeless and like out of the loop and stuff like that. And there's a lot of government waste, and they've learned that, and they've left programs to work with other people and stuff. But one of the things that they started doing was all this DEI hiring. And this person was like, okay, cool. Yeah, let's figure this out. Because what was supposed to be the case, that's very true. Yeah, if you coddle a baby too long, it never develops. That's absolutely true. The person that was working for this company, they were saying, well, we need more diversity in the company. And this person was like, well, what do you mean by diversity? And they go, well, we need diversity within the company because we need to have more representation. And this person was like, no, what you mean is you need people with lived experience that can offer you insight into how to help people. Because if you don't understand the situation, how can you help? If you've never seen if you never like fixed a pipe before, how do you explain to somebody with no experience how to fix that? You need somebody that has experience, or a plumber, or somebody that has lived experience to be able to help. Well, what this company took that as, a lot of the companies took it as, is cool, we need to hire black people. And so they would go and say, hey, look, we hired this consulting firm, and they're a DEI consulting firm, and they're all black women. Well, this person was like, no, you can't hire them. And they're like, well, why not? Like, well, because what does them being black women have to do with them being homeless? Have any of them ever
Where's
been
the relevant
homeless before?
experience?
Yeah. And they're like, well, no, they're just trying to help people. And they're like, yeah, but they're trying to help their people. And that's the difference. This woman is not just hiring black people, just black people or black women. She's hiring black women that click with her, because I guarantee she'll choose one of her homies over anybody else to work for her, because that's just how it goes. That's, you know, so yeah, what a mess, man. What a dumb bitch for running a company that way. Like, I'm sorry, that's stupid as fuck, bro. Like, she's gonna get sued. And I listen, I would never wish anything bad on anybody, but I really hope her company goes under and she figures it the fuck out and goes somewhere else, because that is a horrible mindset to live with.
It's terrible.
God, could you imagine if this fucking clown procreates? Oh God, like, yeah, what a fucking mess. Sorry, God. People.
Bulldozer, thanks for the raid.
What's up, Bulldozer?
So we're gonna end the uns, the unwell, the unhinged, and the unbalanced with a Florida man story. It's very short.
I'm so excited.
Florida man assaults mom with spaghetti sauce, hides in bushes from police, according to the affidavit.
That's incredible.
This is earlier in the month. In St. Petersburg, a Florida man was taken to jail after he threw spaghetti sauce at his mother during an argument at their home over the weekend, according to an arrest affidavit. Anthony Fiacco, is it Fiacco or Fiacco? I don't know.
Probably. That sounds very Italian. So
okay, Fiacco. 41 was arrested by St. Petersburg police on charges of battery and resisting an officer without violence on Sunday. So resisting an officer without violence. This is just going, no, I don't want to. No, I don't want to get in the car.
Yeah, this is the most Italian thing ever.
No, I don't want to.
Yeah. No, I'm not getting in that car. You could arrest this right here, huh?
Got it right here for you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. On charges of battery, blah, blah. On Sunday, shortly before 8 p.m., officers were called to St. Petersburg home on Wahoo Drive after an argument turned physical. Doused his mother with spaghetti sauce, which was found in her hair, police said. Why is this an article?
That's amazing. Because it's Florida man. You got to write these.
Florida
man. That man is so fucking Italian, bro. Now that's fucking Italian. Look at, he's even got the Italian jowls. He's been eating spaghetti and gabagoo. Bro, look at that. Yeah. How did he hide in a bush?
Oh, God.
That's why he got caught, because he thought he was
What kind of bush was this?
Yeah. Look at that guy.
Oh, gosh. Okay. So before we bring this train back to the station, we have one more segment. And I don't know, are you familiar with Craigslist misconnections?
I am. I love Craigslist misconnections. They're so good. And I enjoy watching the ones that you pulled up, because I watched your stream last week too. And I remember watching those and I was like, these are wild. So
okay, so I prepped a few of them to kind of like ease you in, but since you're now an expert, we're still gonna go with it. But before that, we've got Datamax.
Are you looking for me? I'm looking for someone. Where can you be? Someone.
Hi, I'm Maurice. I'm an executive by day and a wild man by night.
I do fashion photography. I took a sponge ball, was pulling him out of a little girl's ear. I'm looking for the goddess. Are you the goddess? Who is the goddess? The goddess is the woman, is a woman, is any woman, is all women.
I'm a 25-year subscriber to both Playboy and the New Yorker magazine.
No fatties. I want it all. No dopers, no smokers, no alcoholics. I steal watches. No posers. We don't like to write checks. No hamsters. We don't like to take out the garbage. What I'm doing right now is making a movie about World War II. No Donna Juanitas. Do you like cats?
Are you looking for me? I'm looking for someone.
That's pretty good.
Misconnections time. Datamax. Amazing. I had to add, I added Dragon Slayer commentaries, and I added Hondo after many requests for Hondo. So
Hondo's awesome.
Hondo is why we all tune in.
Yeah, Hondo's also very evil, and I just want to point that out. I like Hondo, but Hondo's definitely running a human suit that he built himself. Yeah.
Yep. He's like the brain slugs in Futurama.
Yes,
He controls
100%.
So, okay. So you're familiar. I don't need to give you too much of a background. For those of you who have not seen this before, Craigslist still exists and Misconnections is alive and well. I started my search today in the New Orleans area. And this was kind of one of those classic posts. Blonde Chihuahua. I don't understand the reference, but I guess it's an inside thing. Last I saw you, I was becoming increasingly ill. I have made a complete 180 since resolution of health issues. I am ashamed of resurgence of my old behaviors during that period. I know there is a lot of water under the bridge, but if you are unhappy in your current situation, I want us to get to know each other again. I am truly at peace with my life circumstances. I understand that soulmates are not always intended to last forever, but now that I'm resolving my issues, I see that I have missed my opportunity to have you in my life once again. Oh, this is longer than I thought. If we never communicate again, I want you to know that I feel all of the unconditional love you gave and the joyful moments of laughter we shared. Lifequake, a major life change from internal or external disruption that precipitates personal evolution or rebirth. So this is long-winded, for sure.
Damn.
It's a little cringy, but they get better. Wait, they get worse.
Well, I was gonna say that dude definitely is wearing a skin suit at home when no one's around. Whoever wrote
There's
this,
a lot of that.
Yeah, like it's just wild. Like I am ashamed of my resurgence of my old behaviors. What does that mean? What are you doing? Like, no, that guy did something really fucked up.
I won't stick you in the well this time.
Yeah, that's a guy to a girl, 100%, and was like, yo, I know what it seems like, but I promise I won't pull out the chains. I won't put you in the back of the van again. I'm very sorry for my behavior. That's
yeah. Oopsie. Yeah. I'm better now.
Like, I won't do it again. Yeah.
There's a progression with these. Walmart. You know what? You should read this one.
Walmart auto service black guy, Jeff/Met. I was the white guy with the pink shorts on. You serviced my car tire and we chatted a bit about you possibly coming over and looking at some other stuff. Man's looking for a connection. He's trying to get his back blown out by a big black dude that's working on cars.
No.
He wanted that wrench, bro. Like
he was being subtle.
Yeah, he wanted his oil checked, bro. That's crazy. That's wild, dude. Oh no.
Oh God, yes. Please read this one.
All right. This is good. Muscular black guy with belly and dollar store, Denham Springs. Saw you shopping in a dollar store on Range Avenue in Denham Springs. Your muscular physique plus fascinating belly made my mouth water. I was the white guy, no, with a Mickey Mouse t-shirt and glasses. Would enjoy giving you a nice belly rub and
cook you for dinner because he sounds like a serial killer.
Yeah, that
Mickey Mouse t-shirt and glasses as an adult.
Yeah, that's wild, bro. Why are these all white dudes too?
Listen though, Your fascinating belly made my mouth water. He's a cannibal.
Yeah. Yeah,
He's a
like,
wannabe
"Yo,
cannibal.
I want to pretend to eat your belly." Like, yeah, straight up, he's like, "Ah ha ha, time to time to eat you." The
Nom
guy's
nom
like,
nom nom
"Yo."
nom.
Yeah.
Let
So
me blow
my thing
some
is, why?
raspberries on that belly. Nom 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 nom.
Yeah, like, I don't know why you think this guy's gonna look at this. Like, imagine you're that black guy and you're like, "Yo, that I remember that dude with the Mickey Mouse T-shirt. I wanted to have him touch my belly." Like, no, that's not a thing, bro. That's
He wanted a
wild.
motorboat in his tummy.
He wanted
Oh,
to motorboat his
no.
tummy, bro. That's crazy.
Then I moved on over to San Francisco.
Look at that. Just a little jaunt.
Just a little hop, skip, and a jump to the bay. So,
Yeah.
fishing friends. Hey, really been wanting to go fishing lately, but just need some great people to go with. You can also, by the way, pet peeve of mine, no punctuation, no commas, drives me nuts. I used to read these as they were written, but I just can't. My brain doesn't want me to. So I need some great people to go with. You can bring your own gear or just use my pole. Trust me, it's a really nice fishing rod. Anyone free? Is that subtle? It's not even that clever.
No, it's not even clever. No. Coulda. Damn.
I like the ones that are confusing.
Mm-hmm. That's wild though. He's just like, "Yo, you can use my pole. It's really nice." And you're like, "Bro, what are you doing, man? Anyone free, bro? You gotta like lead into that a little bit."
Oh, I need you to read this one. Ignore the numbers because they're
That's
secretly putting in their phone numbers, I think.
Gotcha. Oh no.
Bromance.
Bromance Modesto. Look at that. You were staring me down, was standing in line waiting to pay. You grabbed yourself and fixed it. You grabbed yourself and fixed it, okay? I was staring at your mouth-watering, heart-pounding, no, I'm down for it, missed the opportunity to talk to you. Send me a pic of yourself for a quicker response. Also, looking for a straight friend to possibly play video games. Have fun while hanging out. I'm really not picky when it comes to friends. Let's play a game. Do want this to be more on the DL. I'm also open to the men who go to work in the morning and those Latino men. Bro.
There's some cryptic.
There's a
What is he
lot
talking
going
about?
on there. Yeah. Like, there's
okay.
layers.
Spoiler. I do not believe he actually wants to play video games. That's code for something that I have not found out what it is yet.
Either that or he does want to play video games, but
With a straight friend.
Yeah, with a straight friend. Like, "Oh, you're straight, right? We're just like two guys playing video games." And then what'll happen is he's like, "Yo, I gotta go get the pizza rolls," and then he like trips and falls, and his pants are down.
No.
And,
Look what happened by
bro, I
accident.
fell over. Yeah, bro. Oh no, man. And you're like, "Yo, I can help you get up." Oh no. What are we doing? That's wild. Especially the part that it's like sandwiched right in the middle of like, "Yo, I saw you at this place. You were hot, and I saw you touching your junk." And then you're like, "Okay." And then he's like, "Yo, but I'm also just looking for straight friends that want to play video games. Like, no big deal. We're just chilling.
No,
Not picky at all. But also,
coded
I
language.
want to do it a little bit more in the DL. You know, like, let's not tell anybody what we're doing. But also, you go to work in the morning or you're Latino, front of the line. You're like, "Yo, I thought we were just chilling." And he's like, "No, we are just chilling. I'm not picky." But if you're Latino, wow, bro. That's
How to reveal it happened to me. It's a trap.
It's like, "I thought we were playing video games, ma'am. Why are you naked?"
Well, okay, so there's a thing, right? Some,
yeah,
I would say gay men more than gay women like to turn or have situations with straight guys because I don't know, does something for them.
Yeah, they're just like, "Yo, you're not even, you wouldn't normally do this, bro. It's just me that you're doing this for." I'm like, I think if they're doing it at all, they probably would have done it with anybody.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. So we did it. Hold on, my dogs are fighting.
Oh, that's okay. I think it's kind of funny actually. She's probably like, she doesn't run over there and like break them up. They're just like, yeah, bro. That's kind of nuts, man. Yo, you just beat Sonic the Hedgehog.
Demon mode.
Oh, look at that. Is he looking to fight the other dog?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
She doesn't always
like,
start the fights, but she finishes them.
Oh, she's like, yo, if you let me down, I'm totally gonna fight this dude. That's nuts. Don't go to Modesto, because that guy's looking for you. Yeah. Oh, you're muted. She's still muted. You can't hear her at all. She boomered it.
I do have one more thing, and it's the lightning round, and then we can pull the ship
Okay.
back to port, and I will let you get back to your evening. But lightning round is 4 questions. You can elaborate or not. But if you could eat only one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Pizza. There's no it's the greatest food in the world, and it's the most versatile food that you could ever have. So
What's the best concert you've ever been to?
A band called Mute Math. I took my wife because she was a really big fan of them. And it was awesome. They do some really cool, like crazy stuff in the crowd. Like they take like this giant inflatable mattress with like LED lights along it, and they throw it out in the crowd, and they like and then the guy, like during the song, like everybody that's a fan knows what's about to happen, but if you've never been there, you don't know. He just keeps backing up while the song's going on, and then he just straight shots right into the crowd, right on top of the air mattress, and then he does the rest of the song floating on the air mattress. It's pretty rad. He also has like a digital, like, it's not a guitar, but it's like this sound maker thing, and he like puts it in the crowd and lets people like play on it while the song's going on. Dude, it was such a great time. I loved it. And then a close second to that was I went to a Weird Al concert, and Weird Al puts on amazing concerts. So yeah.
Awesome. I'm jealous. Yeah. What's the worst gift you've ever received?
Oh my God, that's a really good question. Let me think here. You know what? I'm just gonna say a really generic one, but it's true. Socks. Like, just anybody that thinks you need socks, I'm like, bro, like, yeah, I did need them, but I didn't need you to get them for me, because like
get my own
they're never
socks.
the right kind. Yeah. Like, you always get like the worst kind of socks from people that gift you socks. Yeah.
Last question. Do you collect anything?
I do not. I used to. I don't anymore. I had a bug collection at one point when I was younger, and I like kept it for a really long time. I had some like really, really rad like bugs. Like, I found a full cicada that just died. He was just sitting there, and he was like full. I found a bumblebee. He just was sitting on a flower, and he died on a flower. And he was like in perfect condition. I used to have a butterfly, same thing. It landed on a flower, and I found it dead on a flower, and it was in like perfect condition. That was a really cool one. I don't collect that anymore, and I don't have enough space anymore to collect stuff, but the next thing I'd really like to collect is comic books. I just want to start getting a bunch of like comic runs and just have like a bunch of comic books everywhere. I think that'd be really fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And lastly, again, how can people find you? The links are in the description, by the way, for Twitter, YouTube. Do you also do Rumble?
I do have a Rumble. I've been yelled at now multiple times to get Rumble going, so that'll be my next step, is getting Rumble going. People are like, okay, you got to do it. So
awesome.
Yeah, you could find me, YouTube, X, Rumble. I'm on Twitter and Kick as well. I'm not Twitter, Twitch. I don't use Twitch a whole lot, but I'm gonna probably resurrect Twitch at some point. And I do use Kick. I multi-stream to Kick all the time. I love Kick. So yeah.
Awesome. And lastly, we're going to raid. I'm not going to do the auto raid thing, but I'm going to post the link to Leon.
Look at that.
Leon is streaming. He's streaming the Neon Leon.
Yeah. The bird is totally controlling him.
What's he doing? Oh,
I hope this picks up, because I get how it's a sea shanty.
Go to him. Tell him Moxie sent you. I told him not to stream at this time because I was going to be streaming with Epic Mike, and he did it anyway. So
what a dick! It's the bird. I'm telling you, Hondo's in control.
Hondo's Hondo doesn't give a shit.
Hondo's like, just stream. She won't know. Where are we going, man? I appreciate you having me. It was a good time.
So yeah, okay. So everybody go on over to Leon, because we are signing out for the night. Thank you so much, Epic Mike. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out. Super chats, memberships, all the things. And how do I end this? Which one do I end it on? It's going to be
that one.